of our live stream, selling off all my stuff. So in the first part, we sold off the jade mask. We sold the Marilyn Monroe autograph, and we have much more to go. Moments ago, Melissa was striding past that glass doing a funky chicken type dance, and she said, "Should I do this the whole time you're on?" And I said, "No," but in retrospect, maybe she would. We have a lot of really cool stuff left to go. The auction site is kauctions.ca. You can still log in. There's still time to bid on some amazing artifacts and items that I've collected over the last probably 15, 20 years. This has been a decision to make. It's been on the back of my mind for a while. You can see I still have stuff in my office behind me here, so I didn't get rid of everything, but I did get rid of a bunch of stuff. And the reason for that mainly is decluttering. I've got 3 kids about to be in college, 2 are in college and 3rd on the way. And just really wanted to narrow down the collection and put the money towards other things. So with that all said, that's the reason why we're getting rid of some stuff, decluttering, money for the family and for other stuff. And today we basically watch and see it all go. So I'm gonna flip this around. You're gonna hear me talking in the background, and this is where I'm sitting and where I'm at. But right now, without further ado, here is the auction. So again, kauctions.ca, look for the curiosity sale. Incidentally, this is the site that I typically use to sell most of my stuff when we do an auction. And when we do a bigger sale, we usually will advertise on either Facebook or on YouTube and let you guys know when that's going to happen. So we have some antique books and some pictures and some stuff coming up. So let's kind of watch and see how things go. And for you folks at home, this will give you an idea of what some things are selling for. The prices are all over the place, so it's really hard to tell what things will sell for. It's anybody's guess. Some stuff is going to go high, some stuff is going to go low. From what I've seen so far with this sale, there's certainly room for profit. If there's any resellers watching or logging in, you'll have an opportunity to make a few bucks off of your old pal Alex by bidding on stuff at today's sale. But the important thing for me is that things don't come back home, and they all find new homes, and we disperse this stuff back into the ethos all around the world. And they do ship all around the world, by the way. When you bid on multiple items, they'll put it all in one box. They won't ship it out. And if you bid on 20 things, it's not like you're shipping 20 times. You ship once. So know that they're going to do their best to try and bring the cost down for you guys. And hello to Landy Andy 4x4, who is now in Australia driving his Land Rover all around the world. We had him at a car show here in Edmonton, which is actually happening again today. Every Saturday, they do a car show at the NW Drive-In. And we'll be going, I might make it out there tonight if the weather holds up. We'll see. So the lot we are on right now is an encyclopedia of electric guitars. Kind of a neat book, don't you think? $22.50 the bid on that. Let's see if it gets up to 25. Ron Dormer says, "Hey Alex, hello from Moose Jaw. Ever been here? Not only have I been to Moose Jaw, I lived there while I worked on a movie for about 4 months. And many memories of Moose Jaw. Let me tell you a Moose Jaw story, a couple. Moose Jaw is a small town with an amazing name near Regina, Saskatchewan. And it has it used to have, the main street was fantastic. It was all 1920s. They had this Al Capone tunnel tour. Wow, there's a tongue twister. Al Capone tunnel tour, where they had all these underground railway tunnels that were converted into bootlegging back in the 20s. And I remember there was this amazing general store, and it had this conveyor system that you would clip something on it. It would go up and all around the room and up to where the cash office was. I guess you'd put your money or whatever in there, and up it would go. And I remember it was just this amazing thing. And they said that Disney offered to buy it, and they said, no way. Well, they had a fire, and that building and many others on that street burned down. But one recollection I have from working in Moose Jaw for a period of time was that I was staying by this building, and in the alley, there was a garbage chute that went straight down into the back of a 1940s Chevy farm truck. It was, I think, missing a door, had no headlights, it was smashed out and rusted. And I thought, well, that's weird that they would just have all the garbage going to the back of this decrepit, rusted, old, abandoned truck. And then I saw that same truck driving down the road, missing a door, missing its headlights, and smashed out, likely on its way to the dump. I could not believe it was still allowed to be on the road, and that was in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. I kid you not. It looked like it was pulled right out of a bush or a junkyard in a back alley, and somebody was still driving that thing to do dump runs in. Anyway, practical, I suppose, and it still worked. But we are watching the auction here today. We've got a Versace belt. It went for 35 bucks. That seems cheap for Versace. Nice antique pictures. We got some Michael Jordan cards and some collectibles coming up. Haran says that was my truck. Well, that would be something if it was. Mind you, there aren't. I don't want to say it's that small of a town that it could have been your truck, but it was behind an old apartment building. Anyway, it was. It always struck me as being unusual that it would still be allowed on the road. That would be pretty wild if that was your truck and I'm telling the story about this. Old Michael Jordan cards. And I think there's this lot coming up. Oh no, not that one. Is it this one? Yeah, it is. This is the set that has the Menendez brothers in the background. Right there. There's Eric Menendez and his brother, fresh off of committing crimes against their parents. And they ended up on a sport card because they were in the background the day they killed their parents. Pretty infamous thing, anyway. Ron says, just kidding, love your show. Hey, you never know. I mean, what are there, 15, 20 people in Moose? I'm just kidding. Moose Jaw actually has a Air Force base, and so there is a lot of military folks out that way. I believe, what is the famous... they have the famous pilots and fighter jet pilots that do aerobatics and stuff. Oh, my mind has gone blank. Anyway, there's famous pilots that are from that area. Snowbirds, thank you. Thank you for being able to read my mind, but also knowing your own geography and knowing what's in your town. Yeah, the Snowbirds are based out of Moose Jaw. See, I know some things, just couldn't remember their name. Joe Newendike card, 1988. We got a few hockey cards, it looks like, coming up. Oh, we get into the Wayne Gretzky autograph cards. Kind of a neat Black Widow 1975 Topps card. Is it expensive to ship to the USA? No, not really. It's no more expensive than for us to ship in Canada. But it depends on what you're shipping. That's a loaded question. If you're shipping one single baseball card, no, it's not expensive at all. If you're shipping a dresser with drawers, yes, it's going to be very expensive. So, and they do combine shipping, yes. They will put a whole bunch of stuff in the same box. If you buy 15 or 20 things, they'll fit in a box, they'll just put it all together and ship it out at once. Not like eBay where you have to pay shipping on 15 things 15 different times. These are all consolidated at the same warehouse, and so they'll all go out together. It looks like we kind of joined the auction during a run of hockey cards. How long does this last? Not too long. Incidentally, those gold Ray-Ban sunglasses I found in a storage unit, they went for, I think, 120 bucks. Dana, some of the artifacts have sold. There are still some left to go. And so stay tuned because there are still some of those artifacts coming up. And this will be the last chance to ever own those things. 1990 Sergei Fedorov rookie card. Hard to talk hockey after my town suffered a loss again against the Florida Panthers. Florida, it doesn't even have snow. What are they doing winning hockey games? Shouldn't they be out? I don't know. What would somebody in Florida do? There should be a game where you avoid getting bitten by an alligator or something. So lots of cards on the go. Brendan Shanahan rookie card. Hall of Famer Wayne Gretzky autograph. I bought a collection of autographed hockey cards off a guy, and one that ended up being a pretty good one. Wayne Gretzky's rookie card was in there, and it was autographed. Clearly, whoever this was had a chance to meet Wayne Gretzky and had a bunch of cards signed all at the same time. But the Wayne Gretzky rookie card I sent off to go get graded. Hopefully it comes back with a favorable grading number. Sometimes it's hit or miss what they're going to put on a scale of 1 to 10, what condition is. But there's lots of factors. I sent cards in that were fresh out of the pack. Didn't even touch it with my human hand, perfectly centered. Came back as an 8. Nobody's ever touched the card before. Why it wasn't a 10? I pulled it straight out of the pack. It was absolutely pristine. Who's to say? Sometimes it's a little off center, or there might have been a little printing error where there was like a white dot in a black area where it shouldn't be there. And that'll affect things. But we're at $130 right now, $140 now on the Wayne Gretzky signed hockey card. And we have a few Wayne Gretzky cards coming up. So I'll be curious to see what the other ones go for. This is the Upper Deck, was his 1991, I think. Kind of in his one of his last seasons. I think he was, was he on the LA Kings at that time? $150 bid right now. By the way, oh, hello, watching from Ecuador. Used to live in Calgary. Well, hello. So how do you like Ecuador compared to Calgary? That's got to be a big switch. Two completely different worlds. Here's a lot of hockey jersey insert cards where they cut a piece of the guy's actual jersey off and stick it inside the card. Those would be randomly inserted in packs of cards, and it usually says like congratulations or something on the back. It's like a little prize to win one of those things. But for $25 for the whole lot, that's a good deal. $25, and off it goes. Here's another autographed Wayne Gretzky card. $25 now, $30. $30 now, $35. $35 now, $40. $40. $45. $50. $60. $70. You see it goes to $10 after. $80. Now $90. $100. Oh, somebody go to $110. And this one's a little bit older. I think this is like a 1990 or 89 card. I can't remember the exact year. $120. Can't imagine what Ecuador would be like. I don't know if I might have missed it in the comments. Oh, Ecuador is a fantastic place. It's good to know. I bet the food's really good. I don't know what a famous dish from Ecuador would be. I imagine like empanadas or something. But who knows? What's the famous dish from Ecuador? Does anybody know? $140 a bid right now. Looking for $150, $140. Will it get up to $150? $140. Oh, $150. $150. Hello from a shop just north of Calgary. Hey, how are you? It's our friend. And I'm soon to be on a video. $30 on this, $35, now $40, $45, $50. They seem to be climbing up to around $100 pretty quick. 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160. I wonder why one will go for 150 and one for 160. If maybe it's the I was just waiting for a part to come in for my brakes this whole time because the brakes were working, but they were a bit squishy. I couldn't bleed them because one of my bleeders, ironically, I have the broken bleeder right in front of me. The little end got broken off in this, and I had to find one in, I think, the Netherlands. Anyway, I put it in the car last week. I just got the car's up on a lift. I got to bring it down and bleed it, and that one should be good to go. Still have the red Lancia. Yes, I do. Some more autograph cards coming up, and we get into, looks like some die casts and collectibles. This collection, some of it I had sort of packed in boxes waiting for a rainy day to do a sale. Other stuff I had in my office on display. Some things I've had for decades and were part of my own collections. Hello from Hull, England. Well, hello back at you. And forgive my lack of geography of England. I don't know if that's north or south. 90, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140. Hey, Rick. It's Rick Spector. He's on. Nice to see you, Rick. 160. That seems to be the magic number. It gets to around 160, and then people are like, oh, boy. But then there's a couple others, so maybe they're holding out. Yorkshire. Okay. We have one of your dogs captive in our house. I think he likes being here. We treat him pretty good. Melissa dress him up in Argyle sweaters once in a while, though. 90, 100, 110? 110. We get up to 120. Getting closer, 110, 10 seconds remaining. East Coast, Yorkshire is. Well, how did our little dog Chewy swim all the way from the east coast of England to Canada? Connor McDavid cards. $40. You'd think that would be more. He's a pretty hot player right now. $40. The bid on the 3 Connor McDavid cards. Off it went. Wayne Gretzky autograph again. 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130? 130. Yep, 130. I don't know what the typewriter's at. Somebody want to check and see? I don't think I can scroll ahead that far in the auction to get to it. Does anybody know what the typewriter's sitting at? That was a pretty fantastic piece. Hello back at you in Ohio as well. 160. This seems to be like 170. Look, one actually got up a little bit higher. 170. Maybe they're realizing we're down to like the last 2 autographed Wayne Gretzky cards. 180. Sabine. Grüß Gott. Guten Tag. Or is it Guten Abend for you right now? Wie geht's? $180. There's the last autographed Wayne Gretzky card I think I had in this auction. 40. Will it get to 45? Yep. 45, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 100, 100, 100, 120, 110, 120. You up to 130? I've signed up and bid on something that don't take my only American Express. Ooh. I wonder if there's another way around that, if they'll do PayPal or something. Yeah, Amex has really high fees for retailers, so a lot of places don't take Amex as a result. 140, 150. I think there's a period of time when Costco, did they only take Amex, or they took, anyway, they take MasterCard now, but I think they only took Amex for a while there. 150, 150, 150, 160. Is it going to hit 160? $150 and sold. Okay, we're getting into some other collectibles here pretty soon. These 1972 Speedway papers are really cool. They're from the Can-Am races. And it's got like the rule book and the guy's manual and all that stuff. That's coming up soon. That's something that is a really, really neat piece. Assorted autograph cards, I don't even know who's in there. $50. Now 60. At the end of the sale, what they'll do is all these items that passed, like this Chevy wagon here, anything that got passed will go through again one more time. Give it a second chance. We have, oh gosh, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. Oh yeah, all my good toys. Oh, people are asking, what's the one thing that you're gonna regret selling? These Schuco cars, I've always loved Schuco cars, and it took so long to build a collection of original Schucos up like that. Those are all coming up. Oh, and all these really good records. There's the Marvin, the Satanic Magician poster. All these mint boxed, inboxed Corgi and Dinky toys. Whew, there's some good stuff. All the stuff. It's like it's all the stuff I like, because it's all my stuff. Let's see, some more pens, cameo brooches. Well, we have some exciting stuff coming up down the way here. 10 vintage Larry Bird cards. 45. Where are we? Try and get back to where we are here. There we go. We've got some Ray-Ban sunglasses coming. It's very hard to get anything Schuco. I've tried in the years they go crazy. Well, if you've been trying to get Schuco stuff, this is the auction to do it at, because this isn't, it's not like putting it on eBay or something where you're going to hit a big international audience. Yeah. Simon says, you can't believe I'm selling the Magician poster. Yeah, it was cool. Had it framed. That wasn't cheap to get it framed. That came out of, was it Butte, Montana I was in? Where Evel Knievel's from? That's where Marvin the Magician was anyway. A lot of sunglasses, Ray-Ban, etc. Oh, these are the, I can't believe it's so low, $15. This is like really hard to get racing history. Well, let's see what it goes for, 1750. Yeah, Schuko stuff is quite collectible, especially the mechanical, like the wind-up cars and the kits and things like that. And some can be very expensive. I have a lot of really good ones in this auction. Almost my entire collection of Schuko cars is up. It took me forever to build that collection. That's when I say that I've had stuff for a long time. That's what I'm saying. I've had like literally forever. A connection issue. Well, let's see. I'm going to spin this around. Yeah, the Schuko stuff took me forever. Why are the items that the bidding has been disabled? Oh, those first few items in the auction, it says bidding disabled because that's just a placeholder saying what's in the auction. So they don't want people to accidentally bid on something you can't bid on. That's all that is. I'm just going to give my computer a bit of a shake up here and get it going again. Yeah, it's, I'm not gonna lie, it's tough when you're getting rid of stuff that you personally like yourself. Because it's all stuff I would normally buy and be really excited with. You know, I think the clincher was when I bought the box full of like mint box Corgi and Dinky toys, which I would have normally been really excited about. And I was like, gosh, where am I gonna put this? And then you start going, well, something's gonna have to go out of here. And then you start going, you know what? I think maybe I should get rid of a bunch of stuff. And that's what I did. Let's flip this back around. Some Ray-Ban sunglasses. Aviators with the case, $40 on that. And there's some Wayfarers coming up. Anytime I'd found like a nice pair of Ray-Bans in a storage unit, I would oftentimes just set it aside. Oh no, it's not that I'm done collecting personally. I just had to really thin stuff out a bit. I'm kind of focusing more on the cars and stuff. And Dana, the artifacts do come with letters that from the museum and from the customs agent when they imported them in, I think it was 1964 or somewhere around there. But yes, there are papers, and I have all the papers around here. Yeah, cars I can drive. That's the type of cars that I'm focusing on, is cars I can drive. The other stuff is just thinning it out, and like I said, we got kids going to college and stuff. So there's just other stuff I could use the money for right now. Ray-Ban Wayfarer sunglasses with case, $60. $60. Thought I was gonna lose the connection for a second there. Whew. Can-Am brochures, those are neat. 80, now 90. 90, looking for 100. We get to $100 on this, what do you think? In the last 8 seconds. Those are pretty cool. If you're into racing, it's not exactly easy to find Can-Am racing brochures. Yeah, cool stuff. Nick says cool stuff's hard to let go sometimes. Yeah, it is. Yes, the big cars do require a bit more shelving space than the small ones. But we built a big garage just for that reason. Mind you, I'm gonna have to get rid of a couple of those too, because I'm starting to run out of room. That's the thing, when you're constantly buying stuff for yourself and for your business, you constantly have to get rid of stuff too. More Can-Am books. Those are so cool. Somebody who likes racing history would like all that stuff. Some vintage ephemera. You got some boating guides and booklets. Collector guides and books on watches and antique marks. $10 on the set of 3 books. And we got a few clumps of watches. These are the watches that came out of that 50 pounds of watches video that I did. So we got a few. This is a replica Rolex. And yeah, you can sell them as long as you say it's a replica. Obviously, otherwise you'd be scamming people. Antique pocket watch. Oh, this is a measuring tool actually that looks like a pocket watch, but it's actually like a ruler. It's really neat. I think I showed that one of the videos. Really cool thing. You roll it along that little roller there and it measures distance by how many rotations that roller takes. Thought that was pretty cool. Jade mask went already and it went for like $1,200, which I was shocked it didn't go for more. quite honestly, like, I don't even want to think about what it was actually worth compared to what I got for it, especially considering I had the provenance and paperwork for it. It was probably missing a zero, to be honest, but I'm not going to stress about that too much. We're going to stay focused on the other things as they sell. And some assorted watches for project watches and so forth going through right now. Looks like we got some car brochures. There's a book on Russian watches, which I brought up in the part one of this video. These books are really handy to have if you do collect that sort of stuff. Oh, here, we're getting some really good stuff right away. The Godin Acousticaster, that's a good piece. Should be well over $1,000. I think it was 550 last time I looked. The Horikawa, oh, this is one that's gonna hurt. The Horikawa Astronaut is like brand new. It's from the 50s. It's probably worth about $1,000. I think it was at $60. Museums don't buy things. State Ranch says, why don't you contact a museum about the mask? They don't buy stuff. They would take it as a donation, and even one wouldn't even take it as a donation. They said they don't deal in pre-Columbian because we're in Canada, so. So yeah, no luck with the museums. In fact, I bought it from the estate of a guy that owned a museum, so. Yeah, no luck there. Trust me, I offered it. But, you know, I paid money for it, and as much as it's a nice thing to do to donate stuff, I can't just afford to give thousands of dollars away all the time, especially when we have expenses around here. That wouldn't be smart to do. So we got some watches on the go, car brochures, some books. I'm curious to see when we get to that Horikawa robot and the guitar, where that's gonna land. Oh, these are cool. The Volkswagen Scirocco, 1961 Plymouth brochures, $30 the bid right now. On that, $30 the bid. And all of my good toys, like my real good prize stuff, is coming up in the next little while here. So you're gonna have to take a, Anthony says, taking a bath. Yeah, these things can go for more, for sure. But that's why you should be logging on, Anthony, right now and bidding on this stuff yourself. My loss, your gain. I'm okay with that. You can log on at kauctions.ca. Look for the Curiosity Antique Sale, and you could get, if you get on right now, you could still bid. It's still live and going on right now. And in fact, a lot of the really good stuff hasn't even gone through yet. But with anytime we do a sale like this, I always have to keep in mind that some things are going to go low and some are going to go high and some are going to be in the middle. Like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, I said on the other video. In fact, I couldn't remember if it was called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. For some reason, I thought it was Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears. I think I was getting the Three Little Pigs and the Big Bad Wolf mixed up. It's I'm getting to that age, I think, where everything's getting jumbled. Or maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not an age thing, it's an Alex thing. It's funny, I was putting these brochures up for the auction and I didn't even realize that I had a factory brochure for my Wagoneer, so I pulled that out. I did keep that one for my Wagoneer. I like to have all the paperwork and booklets with my vehicles. Kind of makes it a little extra special. American Oil Can Collector's Guide. That was a handy resource to have when I had my store. Especially at that time, I was dealing a lot in oil cans. John Roberts says he has a couple die-cast, a red and white Corvette. So, you know, we'll let things run through today and everything will sell. It's all no reserve. And, you know, to sell 1,200 items would have taken me a real long time to do this individually and on my own, or if I went to shows. So you kind of factor in what would it cost for fuel and gas and time and expense. And, you know, if you have the stuff at an antique mall, they're going to take a bigger percentage than the auction is. So just thought, heck, run it all through. And sometimes things like this ephemera, which is really cool, for 35 bucks. That is, I don't know if, do you guys ever watch the video where I built the miniature train set? I built a little tiny train set inside of a suitcase. So I decorated the whole inside of the suitcase with these antique advertising cards. It looked really cool. So these are extra ones I had left over. Hires root beer advertising cards and stuff. Just a really, really neat piece. But you can, I use mine for making sort of a collage inside. You should watch that if you haven't seen that video. Anthony says he sold his collection 2 weeks ago taking a bath. You took a bath or I'm taking a bath? Or you need to take a bath? I don't know. Somebody's having a bath. That's all I know. Some nice vintage postcards. You got the Stampede. Really cool piece. $12.50 right now, the bid on that. Some postcards can actually go for hundreds of dollars. So for sure, there's a guy in a bucking bronco. And you know, you got to have the right people on the auction at the right time. We did advertise this pretty thoroughly. And I will say there is lots of interest in the antique pistols and swords and stuff, which have not even come up yet. So when you're down on one thing, sometimes you'll get up on another. So I'm not really stressing too much yet, because at the end of the day, it's the grand total that's going to matter. In my mind, this was all basically dead money that was just sitting in stuff that couldn't be converted to use for anything else. And this will open up some opportunities for me to reinvest in different places, including my kids, which is honestly very important. Another lot of antique ephemera. We got the 60s Honda motorcycle booklets coming through. I think I was hanging on to those Honda motorcycle booklets. It's the next thing going through, because I always imagined I'd get myself another 1960s Honda. And that just hasn't happened, and I don't see myself doing it. I don't even have my motorcycle anymore. Oh, needs hammer repair on the pistol means that the little piece you cock back that hits the bullet, basically, that ignites the bullet, is called a hammer. That one pistol has a broken hammer. That's why it needs hammer repair. We disclose those things. $50 bid on the vintage paper ephemera. We'll get to $60, $50 bid. Yep, $60. I wonder what they're interested in there. There are some cool postcards and things from steamships, battleships, traveling stuff from Japan from the 1920s or 30s, which is kind of cool. Actually, the artwork's really neat on that stuff. Probably should have checked to see if that artwork was done by a famous person. It might have been some, you know, famous Japanese artist that did those things and hand colored them. Yeah, you think about these things after the fact. $80 bid right now. See if it gets up to 90. And I'll try and read your comments at the same time too as we're moving along. Yeah, the Japanese cards were super cool. Honda 90 manual, Honda 50 65 90 sales brochure, and a Honda 50 55 owner's manual. If you have one of those, it's really good. Money is a bit tight right now. Yes, I recognize that. Oh, here's a good piece. $550 now, $6. This guitar should be around $1,000 is what it would normally go for. 1990 Godin Acousticaster electric. I wasn't really playing it. I don't really play electric that often. $600 is a steal. Somebody's about to get themselves a great deal on that. Ouch. Well, it's climbed up a little bit. It's at $250 now, but again, this is a very good piece. It's in pristine condition. 1960s Horikawa astronaut like new. $275. $300. Let's get to $325. Let's keep it rolling. Let's get it rolling. Let's get it going. $300 bid right now, looking for $325. Now $325, looking for $350. You just don't find 50s and 60s original Japanese robots with their boxes very often. And this is the nicest one I've ever seen. I remember I got this from a lady who had it since brand new and never ever took it out of the box. Still has the instructions, and they're not showing it, but the batteries are even still there in their plastic from 1960 or whatever it is. And they're in phenomenal condition toy. $375. Looking for $400. $375 bid. Looking for $400. $375. At least we're getting up there on this one a little bit. We're getting closer. $375 bid right now. Let's see if it climbs a tiny bit more. $25. Will it go up? No, $375. Here's another Horikawa Tin Spaceman robot. $70 bid. Now $80. These old robots are not super easy to find. Oh, I see the Hammond multiplex typewriter is coming up right. Oh, can you see? right there. That'll be interesting to see. That's a particularly good piece. Same thing, this German porcelain pipe is cool with the emperor on it. So let's see how things go, guys. Fingers crossed, toes crossed, eyes crossed. Crisscross applesauce. $80 the bid on this right now. Looking for 90, $80, off it goes. Gold Space Giant Robot. I wonder why this one was 160 versus the others that were like 80 or 90. 180, 190, 180 bucks. Let's see what it goes for. It's gold. Well, the other ones had more human type faces, like they were astronauts, where this is a full-on robot. Oh, this is an interesting one. It's the Horikawa Godzilla tin robot. I put it as is because it needs the little tin eyeballs and mouth put back on it, which I didn't have. 180. 190. These things can actually go for quite a bit of money at bigger auctions. $190 will get up to 200. See where it lands. 190 is the bid right now. 190, 190, off it went. Okay, we're currently at 950 on this right now. This is an excellent typewriter. It's a beautiful typewriter. The Hammond multiplexes are just stunning pieces. This is a mathematical typewriter. So it has mathematical secondary keys, which means it was probably for a professor. 950, okay, well that's all right. This should be a lot more. It's a 1800s German porcelain pipe with the emperor port. It might actually be Austrian, but it's got the weird funky hoof. I don't know if I'd want to put my mouth on that, but that's what it's got. It's got a hoof for a stem, $30 a bid right now. Germans sure like having their little flaps that cover things, beer steins and this pipe, which actually serve a purpose. We have a couple beer steins that Melissa's been trying to get rid of around the house for a while because she doesn't want them in the cupboard. In fact, I don't know if she's got rid of them. I hope she hasn't. Because in summertime, if you take a drink outside, it is really handy having that little flap to close it so bugs and stuff don't go in your drink. It's an amazing invention. And that's why it was invented, so that flies wouldn't go in during the plague. Black flies going in your cup and then moving around and spreading disease. So really, really neat thing. Well, the hoof thing comes off. You could just replace that with a normal stem if you don't like it. That's what that one has. $50 bid right now. Somebody said it's probably the hoof thing people would want. I wouldn't want to own a deer paw. Well, let alone putting one right up to your mouth. But, the Germans. King. Which king is it, Sabine? Should have asked a German before. Arnold German cable remote. This works too. You turn a little crank and it makes it go. And when you push a button, it steers left or right. It's a really, really cool toy. I won't keep talking about how much more money these things are worth than what they're actually going for. I guess I will be happy knowing that there's people getting some good deals out there today. $50 on the German tin clock. This might also be an Arnold as well, actually. Pretty collectible things. $50 on that. Oh, Ludwig II. Thank you, King Ludwig. That probably would have helped to have that in the ad. He must have been pretty young when that portrait was taken. He looks like a guy in his 20s. The wispy little goatee and mustache. Or goatee. $60 a bid. Last call. Seconds remaining. Well, there's going to be a hefty box going to the Netherlands, I think. Castle. Oh, is that the castle that looks like the Disney base's castle off of Nauerstein or whatever it's called? $80 a bid on this right now. We are coming up to the Addison. Okay, it is the guy that had the castle that looked like the Disney castle. Well, that's cool. The Addison Catalan Art Deco radio could be a potentially good one. Same with the German Leica camera, back to back. $600 on this. $650. Catalan radio is very desirable. $650 bid right now. Let's see if it gets up to $700. $650 bid. Seconds remaining. Let's see if anybody really wants to own it more than this person in Ontario. Hope they pack it well. 700 now, 750. What makes this radio special is what it's made of. It's a very early type of plastic called Catalin. They made them for a small amount of time. It's sort of before Bakelite and regular plastic were streamlined. They use Catalin, and it's very colorful. So it's a 36 Leica. I guess they didn't put the model number in there, but that's okay. It is a does date to 1936. I know that. And Leicas are fantastic things. I actually got this off the original owners. It was his dad's camera from brand new. And when I bought it off of the son was probably, I want to say 75 or 80 years old when I bought it. So kind of checks out, I guess. But he said, yeah, it was his dad's camera. I remember I went over there to buy a model ship, like a wooden ship, and they had this sitting on his bookcase. And we struck a deal. $650 on the Leica. So yeah, to go back to the radio, most radios aren't worth $750 or thousands of dollars. But that one being Catalin makes it more expensive. And yes, Leica cameras can be worth, from hundreds on up. I think when I checked out this one by its serial number and model number before, it was like about a $1,500 camera. So somebody, again, getting a good price, $700. Off it goes. There's a little car hauler with trailer and ramps in case you have a die-cast car that you want to display on a trailer. Nice thing to have behind a truck. Oh, my pleasure, Manny. I hope that was of use. The only other radio other than Catalin radios are stunning. If you ever look up the FADA radios, FADA radios, they're just like really bright blues. And it's not Bakelite. It's a different sort of plastic. It's really beautiful. The only other radio that's worth a tremendous amount of money are the Bluebird radio, Spartan Bluebirds, which I have one. Actually, in my opening to my video, a picture of a guy working on a Spartan Bluebird. That's him fixing my radio. This is neat. Cyrene the Great, an emotional Spanish dancer appearing in low skirts only, or long skirts only. Don't you be asking for them short skirts. Cyrene's not going to have it. I will dance, and I will dance emotionally, but I will dance emotionally in this long skirt. Cyrene the Great. What a cool piece of history. I wonder whatever happened to her. If you were descended from Cyrene the Great, that would have been pretty awesome. And to dance in those Victorian type shoes would have been a real pain too. Don't worry, those stickers aren't actually on the card. It's in a plastic sleeve, in case you're wondering. Just a really, really neat piece of advertising history, a little playbill for this woman who was apparently an emotional Spanish dancer. Although I don't think that'd be crying and dancing while your feet are going. It said emotional. It didn't say which emotion. Could have been anger. Dancing with emotion. I like that they had to add long skirts. Obviously, she had some requests and they added that in there. Like, listen, fellas, Cyrene says it ain't happening. $45 the bid right now. Kind of up to the cute little sewing machine too. That's coming up right away. 1952 Singer Sew Handy with the box, with the papers, with the little clamp that holds it to the table. That, when we first put the auction up, actually that sewing machine was the highest thing for a while. It got up to $250 like instantly and sat there. No, it says emotional Spanish dancing. Maybe it's dancing with motion? No, I think it's emotional. I think maybe she had a lot of like great facial expressions or something. 275, I think I know that last name. That might be my friend Dale bidding on this. I know his wife does collect sewing machines. I'll have to ask him if that's him. If you remember the Volkswagen bus video that I pulled out of the bush, Dale's the one that came with me with his truck and trailer and hauled it out of the bush with me. He's a very good friend to have, also an airplane engineer. Off it went. I'll send him a text after this and see if you want it. The typewriter sold already, went for $950. It was a few lots ago, like 15, 10 or something like that. Antique English bronze inkwell, look at that thing. Have that on your desk. $70. For all those people that bought the fountain pens and quill pens earlier, that's one to have. No, Dale never worked at the shop. That was my friend Greg. Dale never worked there, but he used to come and hang out, and so I'd see him every once in a while. Haven't seen him lately. He's been working for an airline, and as a result, I haven't seen him. He retired from an airline, and then they called him back in to work for a different one. So they took him out of retirement. But he's a guy who likes to keep really busy anyway, so I think it's probably good. $275 the bid. This is really cool. It looks almost like Druid or something. It's like a Knight Templar almost. No idea the age of it. It came with some other stuff that was quite ancient and old, so I have no idea how old it is. I just thought it was really cool. $300 a bid on that right now. And it's maybe, I wish they would have put something in so you could tell how tall it is. Arthur says unable to verify to make bids. Credit card has to be in, and then you have to, it'll tell you what you're missing when you're signing up. You have to say whether you prefer to have it shipped or picked up, and you have to do it. There's a couple little boxes you have to check. If you don't check, it won't verify. So just go back in and it'll show in red what you have to do. You also have to put a credit card in. So if your credit card's in, your address is right, just answer the other questions they have there and it should work just fine. $375 the bid right now. Somebody in Missouri bidding on it. $375 right now. We'll get to $400. $375 the bid. $375 bid. Looking for $400. $400 now. Looking for $425. $400 bid. Looking for $425. $400. We actually have a number of interesting lots coming up, so stay tuned. There's lots of cool stuff coming up, guys. Incidentally, curious to know what your favorite thing in this auction was out of all the things that I'd hung on to. A couple of Talking Heads tour t-shirts. Bought those with a whole bunch of other tour shirts, and I am kind of a fan of Talking Heads, so I hung on to them for a while, but they're a little too big. Did I lose you? There, we're back. I went quiet for a second there. $60 now, looking for $70. $60 bid, now $70. $70 bid, looking for $80. $70. Lots of Talking Heads fans out there, apparently. Now $80. You never know what something's going to go for. I mean, pretty cool artwork, pretty cool shirts. Talking Heads, pretty cool band. Is it working for you guys? I'll just ask my trusty wife. Would you mind checking to see if the auction is still up, like my video? Oh, it's working for you guys. Okay, I was worried. It froze for a second for me, and sometimes when it freezes. Oh, this is a really cool desk that had all the secret compartments and stuff in it. Remember, it had... $170, now $180, $170. Yeah, the feed went off because I'm actually streaming this from my phone, and somebody was phoning my phone, and that killed my live stream. So hopefully they just leave a message. I put it on Do Not Disturb, but they phoned like 3 times in a row, which kicks off the Do Not Disturb. Cool. Somebody just said they won something. Oh, this is such a nice piece. This came out of, I don't know if you remember when I did the clear out and I got the yellow Miata and the Ford Escape and that whole apartment, and we found a big box of silver in the corner. That was out of that apartment. And it was a lawyer's apartment, and this is a massive carved soapstone, and it's so cool. It's like 2 feet tall, guys. Whoever wins this thing, they're gonna be impressed with how big this statue actually is. It's a massive and cool piece. $300 the bid on that. Looking for $325. That's nothing for a big soapstone carving like this. $325 the bid right now. Ronald, again, thank you for your bids in the Netherlands. $325, $350, $350 bid. Let's see where we go. $350 bid right now. I'm going to mention while we're here that coming up, we have some other toys coming, of course. These Ghost Rider 1 to 10 comics and stuff and Dr. Miracle, Those are real comics that somebody bound into a book, which really sucks because Ghost Rider #1 and the first appearance of Ghost Rider are really valuable comics, and it sucks that they put it in a book. But that said, it's in there. So if you're a Ghost Rider fan, and it's the Ghost Rider series when he was on a motorcycle, because there was a Ghost Rider series that was before that when he's on a horse. Models of yesteryear, I used to have these things when I was a kid. I think I had that exact one. I remember taking the roof off. I had this is bringing back a memory. My mom worked at a store called Den for Men, which was like a smoke shop. And they sold some die-cast cars and novelty stuff and things like that too. Anybody else remember Den for Men? Well, my mom worked there back in the 1980s. And they had a Ferrari die-cast car that was broken. And at the time, we couldn't afford to buy the thing when it was new because it was like $30 or something. And that was a lot of money in 1985 or whatever it was. But this one, somebody broke the wheel off on it. And so I think they sold it to my mom for like a couple dollars. And I got it home and I re-glued the wheel back on. And I used to put my Luke Skywalker figure in the driver's seat and imagine someday maybe I'd have a car like that. And who knew that I'd end up with a car collection? I hoped when I was that age, when all I had was a couple toys and hopes and dreams and wishes, but you never know. But I remember seeing it at the store and oogling it and thinking, ooh. It was a 1950s Testarossa, I can remember that, with the funky sort of fenders on it. Some James Bond cars coming up. The little yellow Citroen. Oh, we've got some comics on the way. We've got some toys. We've got, we get some artifacts. Who was looking for artifacts? We had somebody, was it Sabine, asking about the artifacts? Those are all coming up pretty soon. The Aztec pipe, the Egyptian artifact, the 1700s or earlier, actually, Inuit carved tooth of a mother and child. There's some real stellar stuff on the way. You just get to put... Are we back now? Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, guys. I think we're back. Give me a thumbs up or send me a like or like the video if this is back up. If you can see me or if you can hear me, hit the like button. I'll know that it's alive because right now I'm looking at it and it hasn't changed. Oh yeah, okay, it's moving. I guess we're back on. Oh, okay, well, that's all right. Marvel Ghost Rider 1 to 10. Oh, they didn't even open up to show it. It is not only just 1 to 10 of Ghost Rider, but it's also the Marvel Showcase first appearance of Ghost Riders in there. And the comics would have been in pristine condition if they had not been bound in the darn book. But there we go. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It froze a couple times because somebody was trying to call me. That wasn't related to the internet, but yeah. I think what it is with the auction house is that Kastner is a very busy auction. They have sales basically almost every day of the week. And when they're not doing a sale, they're inventorying, getting ready for next sale. So they'll do restaurant equipment, they'll do industrial equipment, they'll do household stuff. So they're busy and there's only so many staff there. So there's also only so much time they invest in these sort of things. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Oh, there is some Volkswagen stuff coming up, I'm sure. Canadian Pictures book by the Marquis de Lorne. It's one of the very first books on Canada, and it's all illustrated. It's a beautiful book. Fully illustrated, $80. Good early piece of Canadian history. There's a Volkswagen Transporter shop manual. I sold my bus, so I didn't need the manual anymore. Yeah, there's definitely money left on the table by not putting a little bit more effort into the descriptions and stuff, but so be it. Hey, but that's what we're here for. And also, I did try and do a couple preview videos and talk about things beforehand and answer questions when people emailed me. So yeah, it's a shop manual. Yeah, the auction gets a lot of interesting stuff because they're getting estate clearouts and all sorts of things too. So There's another bound comic book, DC New Gods, number 1 to 10. Jack Kirby, the artist on that, very famous comic book artist. The next book is cool. The Book of Automata. It's all, like very early automatons. Like, did you ever see the movie Hugo and they had like the little mechanical man that drew that they were, anyway, it's a book on that kind of stuff. But the book itself is from the 50s, and I've always been really fascinated with that stuff. And yeah, it's old. The 1919 book of identifying old clocks. Well, what did they consider old? It was clocks from like the 1700s and 1800s and before. Did the auction allow bidders to preview live? I think if you asked them, yeah, they would let you walk back and have a look at stuff. They had it all set up. Ronald, I don't know about the Egyptian statue, to be honest with you. I would say it certainly looks real. It came with a lot of other artifacts that I got that were real. I know that it has certainly got a lot of age to it, but I never had anybody look at it. So I just listed as being antique and what the height was, but there's a, actually where that thing came from, I did a house clear out and there was a little scrollwork box. And inside this little wooden scrollwork box was this Egyptian artifact. So hard to say, really cool thing though. Oh, here we get into some of these ones do have the letters of authentication with them. These 2,000-year-old artifacts. I did send a copy of the paperwork that should go with it to the auction house, $300 on that. That's a little hand tool, like a little, it's probably jade. That green looks like it's a dark green jade for carving and shaping. There's 2,000-year-old necklace, $250 is bid on that right now. Yeah, Sabine says Caster does all the time-consuming things like shipping and packaging. Yes, that is correct. It would be months of my time getting this stuff all packed up and shipped out. So having another company do it is awfully handy. Oh, they didn't list that I have the authentication papers. That's funny that you say that because I gave them to them. So anyway, they do. These ancient beaded necklaces and Aztec pieces and stuff like this. It's an actual Aztec clay pipe. I have the paperwork on this thing and I sent it to the auction. So if you bid on this and win it, make sure to ask them for the copy of the paperwork or email me and I can scan a copy and send it to you. Because that was acquired in the early 1960s from a museum straight from Mexico. Illegal to buy that stuff from Mexico now, but at the time it was allowed, which is the only reason it's allowed to be bought and sold now. So a real good piece of history there. Crazy to think that an Aztec artifact like this is almost the same price as a Chucky doll that we sold earlier in the sale. Just boggles my mind. But people like different things. I guess it's one thing to see it in a museum and go, huh, look at that. They knew how to put clay together and stuff. And then it's another to go like, I remember Chucky, that scared the pants off of me. I don't get that expression. Scared the pants off me. Does that mean that you start running that cartoonishly your pants like fly off? And do they stay in the running position while you run away? That like Scooby-Doo style, the pants are like stationary and running form and your body just runs away from them? Scared the pants off? Is that what that is? Yeah, actually. I'm just gonna write. I'm just trying to tell them that the paperwork goes with it. Oh, I hope they say something before it goes up. I mean, for people locally, they know who Stan Reynolds is, and they know that it's a museum here. But I don't think people like this person in San Jose, California, probably doesn't know. Oh, I don't know if they're getting my notes. Oh well. Sorry, Ronald. If you asked a question, I missed it. Oh, the The carved tooth and mother. That is coming up right away. So Ronald, if you're watching this, the carved tooth and mother is also from the museum. It is authentic. I didn't get papers on it because, actually, no, I do have papers in my office that I can send you. It came from a Hudson's Bay Company dig site in the 1940s, and they estimated that it went back to maybe the 1500s even, that site of artifacts that they found. So I do have the paperwork on this. If you win this carved tooth thing, send me an email to curiosityedmonton@gmail.com. You can just look me up on, you can send me a message through YouTube or through Facebook as well, but emailing me is the best. I have the paperwork at my desk actually right behind me here. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, actually, where did that? It said, I'll see if I can get to it before the auction gets to it. So I'm just gonna back this up a bit. This is my file of paperwork I have on all that stuff. So I have all kinds of papers on it. And I was reading one earlier in here. Inuit, pre-Columbian. So there's a paper, oh, that's Aztec stone idols. There was a document in here saying it came from a Hudson Bay dig site, which is in Canada. And they dated it to, oh gosh. Like there was stuff like this too, like, you know, certificate of authenticities from the museum and stuff like that. His membership card to the Archaeological Society. I got all the paperwork on this stuff. Because I thought if ever the day came that I was going to sell it, which is apparently today. Let's see. So it looks like he bought the Inuit stuff in 1964 because I got the letter here from him buying it. And it says, "Dear Mr. Reynolds, all items included came from a site in Hooper Bay, material collected 35 to 50 years ago. And this was in 1962, so that was like in 1910 to 1930, somewhere around there. Many items, they say, are 300 to 400 years old. And then there's a signature from the guy right there. So if you bid and win that tooth, I will send you at very least a scan of that letter or send you the letter itself. So I do have the letter on that thing. So they're saying at the time from the Brown Museum that stuff came out of Hooper Bay, Northwest Territories. 4 years old, and that was in 1962. So there you go. It's crazy that I have all this paperwork on this stuff and there's no mention of it. Oh well. Oy, oy, oy. Went for $600. Okay. We're gonna keep on going. Honestly, I kind of was expecting to hang on to this stuff for a while, which is why I kept all the paperwork. But at least you can trace it back to when the museum got it, and that's in the 1960s. This is the thing here, $100. And it's, they estimate it to be 300 to 400 years old. Purchased in 1962 to a museum. And I don't know what type of tooth it would have been. Probably something big. Because it's quite large. I imagine it's like a sea creature of some kind, like seal or, I don't know. $200. Really neat piece. I just love the motif. And you know, I've said it before, our Inuit peoples were more nomadic, and so they weren't making giant soapstone sculptures to carry around. Not when you're moving around where your food is. You have to have something small. This fits in the palm of your hand. So this would, and you can see it's kind of glazed a little bit from being carried around. That was probably made by somebody for their kid. Probably the kid that's on their back. You know, I did a little carving of you. And it was probably given to them to, like an action figure. But it's such a loving thing, you know, like a mother caring for a child, and so universal. Anyway, I just love that little thing. And yeah, I see, Ronald, you're putting some bids in on it. So again, reach out to me after and I can email you a copy front and back of that paperwork that I had for it. I don't think anybody's monitoring the auction today. I think they're just letting it go timed because they're not answering my questions. A lot of times when you have somebody monitoring the sale, they'll get back to me, but there's no auctioneer at the other end right now. Just me here talking about stuff. 375, 400, 425. Yeah, in fact, if anybody's watching and they won one of these artifacts or anything and you want me to send you a copy of the paperwork, if for whatever reason the auction doesn't include it, I have that here. So I can just I can scan it and email it to you. It's no problem. Looks like he was buying most of this stuff. I'm just reading the paperwork now. Most of the stuff from the 1960s. And actually for the, I think this is a picture of them digging up the jade stuff that sold earlier. Yeah, look, there's a 1960s picture of them digging up all the beads and stuff that we auctioned. That's funny, that's out of a National Geographic even. What do the notes say on this? There's a different time back then. Your National Geographic reports on it. They go, oh, look, they found all this historic stuff, and then you could just buy it. I wonder if he saw it even and got in contact with him from that. Because he was the member of the Archaeological Society. Anyway. Hard to say how somebody who owns a museum gets in touch with anybody. I guess you just call and say, I own a museum. So Ronald, I saw that you have a Inuit carved tooth going off to you. So send me a message. Curiosity Edmonton, CURIOSITY Edmonton, EDMONTON @gmail.com, and I will send you a copy of that paperwork. Provenance is key. I wish it was. I wish there was a picture of it, but there you go. That's partly my fault. I probably should have printed off a bunch of copies and just had it stuck with it. They probably would have taken a picture of it had I not emailed them the paperwork. Shin plaster is a 25-cent note, and they used to stick it in your boots, and that's why they call it a shin plaster. You plaster your shins with it. Keep your ankles warm in winter. Obviously collectible, $130. Looks like we have some jewelry. Oh, that really cool Hohner harmonica dealer display is coming up. Dana bought the 2,000-year-old necklace. I do have paperwork for that as well. For that, Dana, the auction should be able to provide that because I sent them the importation papers. So if you reach out to the auction on the any of the pre-Columbian stuff, they should already have that. Looks, I'm glad to see you guys are getting some stuff that you like. That's cool. Is that an ampersand, that money clip? It looks like an ampersand almost. Or maybe it's scrolled initials. That's likely what it is. Pilot's wings. Let's see. We get into some jewelry. We've got some pens and stuff coming up. Let's see. Oh, this Salish Indigenous basket is really cool. The 1880 bronze. Oh, we got the swords coming up. Oh yeah, that the swords. These Mobius first edition are really, really cool too. There's, oh my God, I know I've said it before, there's just lots of good stuff still coming up. And all these first edition hardcover comic books that are signed. Marvel Masterworks. Okay, the ride isn't over yet. This roller coaster is just on the upward swing still. We haven't even gone on the downslope yet. So hang on to your hats, folks. Things are just getting warmed up. Little silver ring. $60 a bit on that. What language is that, by the way? Does anybody know? Forgive my ignorance for not knowing. Rust Knuckle says, swords are my weakness, but I'll go out and rip out of my price range. Well, you never know. There is a King George III sword that's going through. There's an 1800s Japanese tanto, which is like the mid-size or the smaller size blade. Sanskrit, Tibetan, somebody says maybe. Hebrew. But what does it say, I wonder? John says, I like how an auctioneer talks really fast. I'm not even sure what they're saying when I think it's just noises. How many I have it on 90? 90. Okay, folks, we're gonna be $90. A Harley Davidson ring, 20 bucks. Let's see if it gets to $22.50. See if when it's under a certain amount, it goes up in $2.50 increments, then it goes to $5, then it goes to 10. Manny says, Alex, how does this collection work in terms of your job inventory belonging to a business or a private collection? Is that interchangeable? No, this is all stuff that I would have bought myself. So this is all my own stuff. And sometimes we'll buy things from the store as well. So there's occasions where if I get something I think is really cool, I'll buy it from the store. But it's two separate entities. So this is all my own stuff this time. Normally those other auction sales, some of them are store inventory, some of it's my own stuff. So we just have to basically file it in the right buckets. $45 seemed pretty cheap for the harmonica dealer display, but then again. Well, Arthur, I'm sorry it didn't allow you to verify. Maybe it's bouncing back. Maybe it might be in your junk mail. If it was emailing you a verification code, a lot of times it'll go into the junk mail. Sadly, I don't work for the auction, so I can't say what's going on. And Ronald, thank you so much for all your bids today too. You have a good eye. You've been bidding on a lot of good stuff, and I'm glad that you're also an enthusiast and love this sort of thing. I've kept back a few things that I thought were pretty special. Things I couldn't. I did keep one jade mask back for myself. Actually, complete set. It's a jade mask, the ear extenders, and the necklace. I have like the whole. I would like to get that framed at some point. And let's see, what else did I keep? Oh, a big tether car from the 1930s. A couple Schuko cars. Not really a whole lot. I mean, I got rid of so much stuff. I mean, this is like, my whole office was basically packed full of stuff. No, after all these years, I don't know exactly how much I bought for everything, unfortunately, because you don't think about that at the time. Like some of the Schuko cars and stuff I know I bought off of eBay, and I would have paid full retail for that. Some of the other things came out of collections that I purchased. It would have been a sizable investment for sure. Little cameo brooch pin. $60 the bid right now. Let's see where it goes. $60 a bid, and off it goes. This is a Amoco gas station pen. These has the Amoco logo on them, which is not showing in the picture, unfortunately. But it's kind of a neat thing. There's another one coming up too. Each clip for the pen has the Amoco gas station logo, and they're still in their box. I got these in Denver at the Mile High Flea Market with my brother Steve. In fact, they appeared in a video of me talking about what I found that day. If you go back, visiting the Mile High Flea Market in Denver, Colorado, there's a couple videos there, but these pens are in one. So you'll see me finding them at the flea market there. At some point, I'd like to go back to Colorado, when the time's right. They said that when you collect, sometimes you lose track of it. If you clear a hoarded house and you auction off, the more expensive to keep the tools. Yeah, I don't really keep a whole lot. Honestly, we have everything we need. So we don't really keep a whole lot of stuff, to be honest with you. Salesman sample pen case. Yeah, hard to keep track. Anybody who's been collecting for a while, it is certainly hard to keep track of what you're spending on things here and there, because sometimes you'll buy a whole giant collection of things and get rid of some and keep the others. And then it's like, well, did I get my money back out of that stuff and this was extra? Or am I still owed money back on the stuff I didn't sell? Or so it's hard to, basically you just kind of keep track of the things that you think are cool and neat, and You know, that a lot of this stuff was bought so long ago too. It's just been such a while. Oh, my pleasure, Manny. Yeah, we're getting up to the swords right away here too. So swords are coming up. This 1800s Chinese bone carved dragon head cane is an amazing piece. And I can't, yeah, there's swords, nitrous diecast says swords. No, I am a separate entity from my business. We incorporated for our business. So a lot of times the, like any revenue and stuff like that that comes from YouTube is business oriented. And then we have our own other revenue from other stuff. So yeah, we have, I'm like two people. I'm multi-personality. New Liege men's watch. Okay, we're getting to this cane right here. The second picture, look at, can you see how beautiful that is? The carving of that dragon head, it's all hand carved. Yeah, Curiosity Incorporated isn't just the name of my channel. I'm actually incorporated. Which means that Velma and Shaggy and all them, they had to go to an office and incorporate their business to be Mystery Incorporated. Which means they had to have an accountant to file their... Yoinks! These corporate filings are a killer. I don't know what's scarier. Like, let's get out of here. And then the feet go. That's the minutia of Scooby-Doo. That's where my brain goes, into them having to have a corporate accountant. And so, what are all these rubber mask expenses for? For all the janitors, we keep ripping them off. Typewriter went for $950. Oh, the Napoleonic sword, $800. Will we get to $850? Oh, off it goes. $160 on this. They should have showed that as the main picture, honestly. The carving on that cane end is just phenomenal. Somebody named Dragon is bidding on it. I hope they get it. $180. I don't know where you'd find somebody that you could pay. How would you pay somebody a couple $100 to even carve that for you? Yeah, the sword was really cool. I think the Japanese Tanto is coming up soon too. Yeah, the cane is amazing. $225. You would have had to be somebody pretty special to have a cane like that, I think. Tom Hanks has a typewriter collection. Somebody kept saying, "Oh, I got to tell Tom Hanks about that typewriter." Do you imagine? You see like the username and it's like, you know, Forrest Hanks. I don't know what he'd pick for himself. Does anybody remember like some really weird video game or a movie from the 80s with Tom Hanks where he's like obsessed with playing a Dungeons and Dragons type game and gets like lost in the character? I don't even remember where I would have seen that. T. Hanks, thanks. This is a French... So I saw this same statue on First Dibs for $8,000, incidentally. Whether they get it or not, it's another story. This one's $700. Wah, wah. Off it goes. Yeah, I feel like it was on TV one night, and I was like, oh, it's Tom Hanks, but he's really young. And he's like playing a role-playing kind of Dungeons and Dragons kind of game, but he like loses himself. No, it wasn't Big. That's a Tom Hanks movie. I don't think it was called Dungeons and Dragons. It's like you had to type out your like mission to the person, and anyway, he basically goes on like a little insane from playing the game. No, his earliest movie wasn't Big. Trust me, this one was before that. He'd already done quite a few movies before Big. Somebody look at IMDb. Mazes and Monsters. Okay, that sounds right. That sounds like the type of... Yeah, that's got to be right. What year did that come out? Codran, since you're on IMDb or whatever, anyway, what year did Mazes and Monsters come out? Like 1980 or something? $1982. And then Big would have come out when? Like 89 or something like that? Oh yeah, everybody was worried about... I remember I had friends that had Dungeons and Dragons characters. I never played Dungeons and Dragons ever in my life. But I always thought the little lead characters were kind of cool. It was like, oh, that's a pretty intricate looking dragon. And then they'd paint them all up sometimes. And I was like, well, that's neat. It was the figures that were cool. But there was no wheels on anything, so I couldn't get behind it. They didn't have like a car that was shaped like a dragon or anything, so I wasn't on board. I was all about Hot Wheels and Transformers and stuff like that. Oh, look at that. Big came out in 89. Look at me go with my guessing. It felt like it came out in 89. Mazes and Monsters. Weird movie. Satanic Panic. Yeah, I remember that. They're all worried. So these, you might go, whoa, what's the deal with this comic book? These Mobius comic books, I think he's a French artist that did these comic series, really, really desirable. They normally go for like $700 to $900 around there, sometimes more. So $550 is still a deal for somebody. There's the other one, $500. Just whether you have the right person bidding at the right time who knows this stuff and wants it. There's a lot of really good first edition books. 500, will we get to 550, 500, 500, 500, 550? No. Some early manga books. 1989, that is getting back there. $35. Okay, I'm gonna bring up a memory from when I was a kid. Now this might be just a Canadian thing, but there was only a few shows on for you to watch first thing in the morning. We only had a few channels if you didn't have cable, which a lot of people didn't. And when the cartoons came on, you had The Amazing Adventures, was it The Amazing Adventures of Hercules? Somebody can correct me. Astro Boy, and the original Amazing Spider-Man cartoon from the 60s. Those three always came on early in the morning, and it was the same all the time. And Hercules had like the worst animation where it was like the Flintstones, where Fred Flintstone's house looks like it's 10,000 feet long because he'll walk across his living room for 10 minutes and it'll just be the same frame over and over again. But yeah, Hercules was kind of like that too. The Mask of Vulcan, and then they had Daedalus, and anyway, those were the three. It was old for us even. My favorite was when anything Hanna-Barbera would come on. So Flintstones, Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo, that was my jam, that type of stuff. And then occasionally you'd get the weird stuff like the Cosby Kids that was even like, it was dated when I was watching in the 80s. Like when Welcome Back Kotter would come on and you'd be like, huh, guess school was different back then. You get like Taxi, Welcome Back Kotter, MASH, those sort of shows that were already old for me when I was a kid, but they were still on TV and reruns. I don't know, what do you guys remember being on? Oh, you see it Andy Griffith's too. And Andy Griffith show came along. Astro Boy. Once Upon a Time. 1978 Lord of the Rings illustrated book, the limited edition hardcover version. I'm just reading some of the comments right now. Yeah, those old shows were pretty, but you know what? The J. Jonah Jameson from that original Spider-Man is pretty much the same J. Jonah Jameson they have in the new Spider-Man movies. Like that character, he does, I can't remember the actor's name, but he's like the ideal J. Jonah Jameson. You can't get better than that. Spider-Man, you've ruined my life. Look around you, Spider-Man. These pictures are garbage. These pictures are trash. I'll give you $5 for them. The Hobbit Illustrated Limited Edition, $60 the bid on that guy right now. Raining hard in Saskatoon. Well, good. You guys need the, Saskatchewan needs the rain. Though the province of Saskatchewan and Manitoba have a lot of fires right now. Oh, I never watched Johnny Quest. Wait, no, Speed Racer was on too. I'm waiting for Hanna-Barbera stuff to come on. Okay, somebody said zoom in. Is that better? Let's see. That's probably for me moving it around earlier there. Is that a little bit better? Let me know. Yellow Submarine guitar picks, $45. I was actually surprised on that one. I mean, I don't know where you get them. I got that out of a storage unit. Look, Cuisina, you asked and I delivered. Oh, I guess I could probably go right a little bit. Let's try and just get that framing just a little better. This is a cool book. Grateful Dead book illustrated with pictures. That is a full-on hippie, drug-fueled illustrated book, that is. It's got all those wild, like, hippie, psilocybin-influenced illustrations inside of it. 110 bucks. Looking for 120 on that. SB Silverman. Is that Sarah Silverman? That'd be so cool if the comedian Sarah Silverman was bidding on my Grateful Dead book. I can see her bidding on it. Oh, can't see the bids now. Oh, okay, hang on. Is that any better? Can you see now? Wait, can you guys see the bids? There we go. Try and make it a little better for you guys. 4 times signed, so 4 different people signed this, illustrators and all sorts of stuff. You know, John, I did go for a very short time to take radio and television broadcasting for post-secondary, but I left because I got offered a job working on a movie. Actually, it was a TV show. And I just never went back to school. Well, I did go back later on. I went back when I was much older and I took human resource management. All of that to say I have no staff right now. Sabine says she's always saw it. Your chat bubble must just be in a different spot. But anyway, I'll leave it like this for a little bit. I'll try and get it a little more evened out like that. Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom comic. Well, that might actually go up in value considering that there's a Doctor Doom movie coming out. I don't know how they're going to play that off, that Iron Man is suddenly Doctor Doom. I guess it's one of those like multiverse kind of things where you can have the same actor doing different roles. Be like, well, in this universe, instead of being Tony Stark, he's Doctor Doom, or who knows. He went evil. I still say that first Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man was a good movie. It was pretty solid. The first ones are always good when they give you the backdrop, and then the subsequent ones, by the time they get to the 10th, they're just really trying to make things go. Vic and Blood hardcover signed by the artist. These were all like, so if you're wondering what these are all more or less limited edition or first edition comic books, graphic novels, primarily comic books. And they would have been quite expensive to buy new. Like you would have had to special order them through a comic book store at the time. They came signed by the artist or by the illustrator, and yeah. Mad Dog says, Alex, you'd make a good Doctor Doom and Shaggy at the same time. Dr. Doom with the voice of Shaggy. Like, hey, I'm real angry. Yoinks. Mage Hero comic hardcover volume 1. I think there's a couple of these that are going through. Yeah, there's another one too. For anybody that likes these first edition books, that's like I always say, if you guys know who Gilbert Godfrey is, I always thought that I would like my Siri, like my navigation to be the voice of Gilbert Godfrey. Yeah, at the next light, you gotta turn left. I think that'd be amazing. There's a few of these. I must have had the whole series. Anne Rice, the vampire graphic novel, signed. Why not? Aliens, first edition. There's a lot of good books. These are all things I just had on the shelf. Yeah, he did Aflac, and then he got fired from Aflac because he made a joke, I think about 9/11 or something, and then they said, no, sorry, we can't have that. So, yeah, Aflac got rid of him. But he was the voice of the Aflac duck. And also, he was in he did a lot of voices in Disney movies for a while, too. The Watchmen, limited edition hardcover comic with the outer sleeve and the whole deal. $190 bid on that. Popular series. Terminator Tempest signed 3 times, 3 different people. Hardcover, $20, $22.50, $25, $30. Where are we going to be $30? I wish they would have got you for a Japanese anime. That would have made it interesting. You'd have said you were One Piece King of the Pirates. That would be, oh, trust me, my son Jason is really big into One Piece right now. If I got a role doing a voice on One Piece as one of the pirates, I think that he might I might become his hero. That's what it would take. None of this other stuff I do means anything. Being an animated voice on One Piece, now that would get me some serious street creds with the kids. At least with Jason anyway. I shouldn't say none of this other stuff means anything. Their kids are interested in what I do, and I have very good kids. I'm very proud of my children. Every single one of them. Jason just finished high school, going into university. Steven's going in his second year right now. And Abigail's grade 11. And soon to be driving a car, if you can believe that. She's already got her learner's permit. We've been practicing with her. I made her drive herself to school a couple of times with me as the passenger, just so she got the hang of it. But yeah, life is marching on. The kids are getting too big too fast. Now I know why people get to like this age, and I'm in my late 40s, and they have another baby, because they're like, well, the original troop is getting old, and they don't, you know, then you freshen it up a bit you put a new one in the mix. We are not having any more kids, though. That is not happening. Next babies around here will be grandkids. Yeah, you guys have, Rick says he's seen the kids grow up. They definitely have. Oh, Jason was happy about the cards I gave him the other day. He's really big into Pokemon cards right now. And when you're a dad and you can find a stack of Pokemon cards and give them to your kid, it's happy times for your kid. That was his payment for helping me figure out what stuff was worth. If you ever used to read Mad Comics and you'd see the tiny little comics that were sort of drawn in the margins, that was him, Sergio Aragones. I don't even know if I said that right. But that was him. And he used to draw all the little funny cartoons in the corners of Mad Comics. Then he came out with Gru, and he had a couple other series he did too. Silver Surfer graphic comic, or graphic novel from 1988, $100. Talk about a 1960s based hero, you know, like Beach Boys era hero. Let's put him on a surfboard. Mind you, my niece is learning how to surf right now. And no, we don't live near any body of water where you can surf, but they have a wave pool at West Edmonton Mall, and they do surfing lessons in one part of it. So she's learning there. And she has they go real surfing. So I guess she's getting her skills up right now. Check in with her and see how she's doing. Oh, no, John, I don't. 20 grand. Hey, well, at that point, 20 grandkids wouldn't really be my problem, other than they came to visit. But I don't think I'd want my kids to have to. That's a lot of, you know, hard to put 20 kids through college. I guess that'd be what, like, you know, almost 7 kids apiece. That's a pretty big family. Yeah, it's likely I could have 6 or 8 grandkids, though. Branches of the old tree. The first edition of Appleseed. Now, this thing is really expensive online. I don't know why it's not getting bid up right now, but that thing is like a lot of money online. I guess the Appleseed fans aren't bidding on this stuff. Maybe it's the other one, the book 1, that's going for more money. Oh, $20. But I swear I saw this thing for like $400 or something like that. Oh, Manny has kids in their middle 50s. Boy, they do get real big real quick, don't they? Manny, I always imagine you to be like young. I can't imagine you to have kids in your 50s. I feel like you guys are jinxing my children to have triplets now, or quintuplets. Oy. I just feel bad for them. Yeah, it is not. It is. a wonderful thing to have kids and see them grow, though. I am grateful for that. And I am really grateful in the last 8, 9 years now that I've been able to be around home more. It's one of those things where had I stayed in my old job, you know what it's like having a job. You're gone most of the time working for somebody else. And I work shift work, so my schedule was all over the map. So I was missing all the things, you know, Christmas parties at their schools and things like that. I was missing a lot. And so now I've been able to be there for everything. So even if, YouTube comes to a halt or something like that at some point and I go back to work, at least I can say I was there for a lot of the important years. And that I'm glad I was able to be there for that. Not planning on that happening, but certainly grateful for what I've had is what I'm saying. Marvel Masterworks hardcover. These are really nice. They're really high quality reprints of all the original key issues. Sabine, 16 Kinder ist zu viel. That's a lot of kids, 16 kids. I guess it'd be 17 with your grandpa in the mix too. If Disney called and offered me a role in a movie, would you consider it? Yeah, of course I would. I'd consider anything. I keep having people call me and want to do a show, but they always want to do like a show about clearing hoarder houses and stuff. And then the last one, we got really close to a show, and then they went off and made it without me. I don't think it ever did. I don't think it did much anyway. But you basically have to sign your life away. So I think it's different if you go and do like a one-off thing and then come back to your regular job. But I think if you go and do a series and they make you stop doing all your work, that's a problem. And I just have to be very considerate. I'll say this, I haven't been jumping on those sort of opportunities because honestly, my kids and my family are more of a priority than going off and acting or doing things like that right now. And plus, I'm a low-level YouTube person. I'm not like an actual celebrity or anything. I'm just a guy, Went and bought milk this morning like a normal person. Came home. So who am I to think, having my own TV show or something is something I need in my life right now. Lots of these Marvel Masterworks books going through right now. I believe I had the whole series up to number 21 or so. You guys want to see what it looks like out my window right now? That's the current view. It is nice to say that it feels like we live in a park. And my grass came in, that was all mud. You guys watched the series where we built this place I'm living in. That was all mud and dirt and stuff. I put grass seed out there and I've been working on it like crazy, getting that grass to come in the last couple of years. But we do have a lawn now and I've got to mow. As we're sitting here talking, I'm looking out at the ditch on the other side of our fence, realizing that I'm going to have to go out there and mow that pretty soon. It's been raining a lot lately, so it hasn't been much. Rick, I see you saying my name. He said my full name. Oh, am I in trouble? He said Alexander. I got the whole handle. To be honest with you, if a teacher said Alexander, I would worry that I'm in trouble, but my family only calls me Alexander. Nobody in my family calls me Alex. How many squirrels do we have in our yard? I think there's 3 or 4. 3 or 4. He says to maybe do a property tour. At some point, we did the whole series of building the house. I just figured that was probably enough of our house that people want to see. If you watch Melissa's channel, I think she's got some videos there about in the garden and stuff. She said, your kids call you Alexander? No, they call me Dad. As far as they're concerned, that is my first name. Melissa's mom and I'm dad, and I don't think they've ever called us anything else. Is it just me or is it weird when kids call their parents by their first name? It feels, I don't say disrespectful, but yeah, disrespectful maybe, or distant. I've never been a fan of that. When a kid's like, their dad's name is Doug or something like, hey Doug, can you bring me some chips? I'm like, whoa. Whatever happened to Dad? Or Father Dear? Musty One, they're gonna do a show with him. He said they'd own everything, even if they quit, they might keep you from going back to your videos. Yeah, Musty One does small engine repair and getting cars running and stuff like that. He's got an interesting channel. He's been doing it a long time. Musty One, Will It Run, I think is his thing. $30 right now. I am happy being dad to my kids. Actually, sometimes Steven will say father. He'll go, father, when he's being kind of like ironically funny. See, it looks like there's a mix. Some of you guys are saying calling a parent by their first name is respectful, and some are saying it's disrespectful. I don't know. I think it makes it feel almost like they're a stranger, I guess. Like it's too formal for my kids. I call my kids by their first names. It's not like sometimes maybe I'll be like, daughter, or hello, son. But I usually just say Steven or Jason or Abigail. My grass is so green, what kind is it? You know, I put so many different types of grass seed down there. I believe it's mainly Kentucky. It's like a Kentucky mix. I know that because when it rains, it smells like fried chicken. Oh, that was terrible. I should have kept that one inside. It is a Kentucky blend, I think, of grass seed. Either way, we need to have something really hardy because it would die off. You know, the problem is, I don't know if you can see it. See the little light spots down there? That's for me. You see the dark lines? I was fertilizing out there, but my spreader for the fertilizer broke and it started dumping too much fertilizer. And it burnt my grass in a couple places. And in other spots, it made it incredibly dark. So now we have racing stripes all over the grass. Okay, what are we getting up to here? I feel like, okay, we got all these books. We got more toys. Oh, all the good toys are coming up. Well, you guys, we're going to stick with it. We're going to get through these toys. We haven't even got to the Red Line Hot Wheels yet, I think. And those things were going bananas. All the good records are to go. Okay, hang on. What lot are we on right now? 1623. Records are coming up. We got all the old die-cast on the way. I'm just trying to, let's see what, 1623. Well, I may as well stick with it for a while because we're going to be getting this Gilbert battery operated James Bond card could be a real good one too, 1706. That's potentially a high dollar piece. Let's just chat. Let's just hang out. I don't know. What else you got to do? I'm here hanging out with you guys. I'm watching the auction end. And plus, I guess, you know, when I think about when I do these videos, I don't really chat with you guys a whole lot. It's usually just me like talking to you about what I'm doing. Today I'm going out to look at some stuff. Here's the stuff. Oh, look at this. Thanks for watching. That's usually how it goes. But I don't usually take a whole lot of time to say hi and chat and howdy and all that. It feels a little informal. For the 600 folks that are on right now watching, probably the people that'll watch after the fact. Oh, Sabine has to go to work. Well, have a good day. It's midnight there? You're working now or you have to go to bed? I'm guessing she probably has to go to sleep because she's a responsible human being. Auf Wiedersehen, gute Nacht. See you, Sabine. I don't know if we have anybody else from Germany on right now. She might have been our only German representative. Yeah, fair number of Corgi cars coming up. Oh, we got the Netherlands. Netherlands are standing by. Never been to the Netherlands or Norway. Rust Knuckles in Norway. Well, no wonder you like the swords. You got that Viking ancestry in you, which I didn't know that I did. I didn't know that I had Viking ancestors too. They did the historical DNA matches to like grave sites that they've dug up over the years. And I'm a close link to a couple Viking burial mounds that they found. So I guess makes sense. Closely linked to some Russian czars. Gotta figure out how that one works. Denmark. We got around back in the day. Yeah, as soon as the Danes and the Vikings and stuff figured out boats, they were like, let's just see how far we can go. And yeah, Europe is represented well. Yeah, lots of Europeans on today. But maybe all the North Americans are online bidding right now. I am thinking that if anybody was into the die-cast cars, they would be logging on right pretty soon here, because we are getting very close to a lot of die-cast cars coming on. What was my old format on YouTube? I'm still doing my YouTube stuff. The only thing that changed is I had a store before. And we would do sometimes longer series where I would do a house clear out that would take me like 20 episodes to get done. But in the grand scheme of things, we're still doing the same kind of stuff. We're looking for treasures in unexpected places. Always saying when I had a brick and mortar location. Yeah, but that doesn't affect my ability to go out and find stuff and to do videos. I mean, we haven't had the store for several years now. And for a lot of people that are actually watching my channel don't even know that I had a store, which is funny because they joined after the fact. We gained almost, I would say, a third of our subscribers joined after I closed the store. So I'm a guy that had a store, but I'm still a buyer and seller. To be honest with you, I'm glad I don't have the overhead of a shop right now. It'd be very challenging. And I think the economy is a little bit more difficult than it was when I had the shop. Rick says you had a store. Yes, Rick, you know where you used to call me on the phone every once in a while? We'd chat for like an hour. Rick used to call me. Very nice man. Frederick Spector, who's showing up there. He would call and we'd chat. I used to have lots of people call and chat. Problem is I'd also have lots of people just come in and hang out, and then the store would get full of people that were just hanging out. And when people came in to buy something, it wasn't that big of a shop, so people would be like, "Oh, it's busy in here." You didn't want them to turn tail and leave. Yeah. I did like having a store, but I also like having a lot of freedom to go do stuff right now too. Yeah, he says, "Thank you. Flattery will get you nowhere." Well, I only speak the truth. Is the numismaniac, is that my friend who is also Santa Claus? We had a regular customer come in that was really big into coins, but also was Santa every year and used to show up on our videos every once in a while, sometimes as Santa Claus. Yes, I do miss, I think the socializing is what I probably miss the most, which is funny to say that, you know, it got a little, we had challenges with the break-ins and stuff like that. And for a little while there, I retreated a bit from doing videos and stuff, and honestly being a little more available. And I kind of just had to pull back a bit for my own mental health, to be honest. It was just going to be a bit much. It was either I had to sort of walk away from doing the store and YouTube, or I just had to just kind of separate myself a bit, which is why I'm doing the videos in advance, giving myself some time to breathe. And that, I saw somebody say they missed me doing the car episodes. Well, don't worry. This is going to be the summer of car restoration stuff. Mark my words. There is a number of fairly big projects I'm taking on right now. So I'll tell you more once we get there. I tried going to Costco today, saying I used to run into Costco as well, but I went to Costco today and there was lineups around the block. And so why is Costco so busy at 9 in the morning? I might have said this earlier in the video, but it was people lining up for Pokemon cards. So the collecting blood is still very much alive. It's just with different things. The Pokemon cards have gone crazy. They've gone absolutely through the roof. And people were like camped out in front of the Costco and they were selling them all these Pokemon cards. How they figured out they had them there first thing in the morning, who knows? I have, Kitty Grandma says, don't you have a highly carved pistol in this auction? Yes, I do. In fact, that will be one of the standout items in the sale, I think. Last time I checked, it was the highest bid in the whole sale at $1,300. Don't know what it is now. It's a nickel-plated fully etched and fully engraved Belgian 8-shot pistol. So it's an 8-shot revolver when most revolvers are 6-shot. Let's see. We're getting into some of the Schuko cars now. Hello from Cork, Ireland. Well, hello back at you. Still not been to Ireland. I was only in England even for a couple days. These are the Schuko cars that I love so much. You wind them up, they've got a working gear shifter in them. They go forward, reverse, multiple gears. The steering wheel works. They're really, really cool. I think Sassy Bell says, I love your video on how to fix things. I think a lot of my videos have some element of fixing things. I will say the one that I get the most heat over is the Roman coin cleaning video, because normally you don't clean coins, you leave them. But I was trying to point out at the beginning of the video, and I think I even said in the video, don't clean your coins. You don't normally want to do that. I'm only doing it because they were encrusted in like 1,000 years of scale and they weren't worth anything. And so that was just me showing a way to get back to the coin from a barnacle. And people were so mad at me for cleaning them, but they were kind of written off as being garbage anyway. So I don't know. It doesn't really bother me, because it's either you're looking at a lump that looks like a little stone or you're looking at something that looks like a coin. So I'd rather uncover the coin. And frankly, that metal tarnishes really quick anyway, so they probably look like normal antique coins by now anyhow, so not to worry. Can't please everybody, but I think I gave a disclaimer right in the beginning saying don't clean coins, anyway. Galaxia says, I like the videos where you chat just like right now. Maybe I should do these more often. Well, sometimes Melissa and I do the live feed and we kind of chat back and forth. She is, I think, getting ready to go to her friends and her do sort of like a girls' night. She's been friends with the same people since high school. And I think she's going to hang out with them tonight. Yeah, these are all really cool. These Schuko things are very near and dear to my heart. The next little batch of toy, for anybody wondering, the next batch of stuff selling is going to hurt for me because it's the stuff I really, really liked. I liked a lot of this stuff. Oh, Dizzy Bird says, who has a big superhero comic collection? Oh, Stepdad has a horrendous collection of comics. Huh. Hey, well, if they ever want to sell. Hi from Yorkshire, England. Have the records gone through? No, you made it in time for the records. If you haven't logged into the auction site yet, the records are about to go through. We've got the first Pink Floyd. We have introducing the Ronettes, which is early Phil Spector stuff. If you know the Ronettes, you just don't know you know the Ronettes. I'll put it that way. Lots of, like Amy Winehouse was inspired by the Ronettes. Like real cool 60s girl band music. You know, the type of girl that might wear capri pants and stab you with a switchblade. That type of girl. Like some B movie that would have played in the 1960s that inspired Quentin Tarantino. That's what I was thinking when it comes to like the Ronettes or the Shangri-Las and stuff like that. There were like girls from the 60s that were a little bit trouble. Another Schuko Examico. $50 a bit on that. Oy, $10 for the box. Well, so be it. If somebody has the car, it'd definitely help improve the value of their vehicle. Check out Imelda May. I've heard of Imelda May. I know they're on. It's interested in the Floyd. Yeah, there's Floyd. There's also a lot of really early Beatles too. A lot of good Beatles albums in the mix there. This was a good piece. 1930s Triumph Minic with its original box, little delivery truck with the box. A beautiful, beautiful piece. This woman doesn't care about car repairing, but I love the hoarder houses. Yeah. I don't know. The last few times I've been called to do a hoarder house, it's been like, I think people have more free time lately or something. Because they'll call me up and go like, yeah, Art, so-and-so passed away and they were a hoarder. Great. When can I have a look? Well, we want to go through everything first and we're going to organize it and throw a bunch of stuff out and then we'll call you with what's left. I'm like, well, then what's the point of calling me? You know, like if you're going to take all the good stuff out and just leave me a bunch of garbage. I don't say that, but that's kind of what it is. Like, you know, that happened a couple of times now where they called me at the tail end of it and there was just like some sweaty mattresses in the basement. Like, so how much will you pay us for everything? I'm like, I'm not going to get interested in this at all. All the good stuff's gone. You already did all the work. So that's been like the last 4 or 5 times I've been approached to do a hoarder house clear out, is that they've already done it themselves, and then they just want me to come and buy all the garbage. And it's like, well, no, there's no fun in that. I'm not going to find anything of value, and I'm certainly not going to pay to throw a bunch of garbage out. So, and you guys don't want me to be going through a house and just going, yep, everything in here is just going to the trash. Maybe there's a way I can make that interesting, but you know. Somebody wrote me though, and they said that after watching our Hoarder House series, that they learned a bunch of stuff, and they went to an estate sale, and everything at the house everything was $1, and it was a hoarder house. Just like dig around and find something that's $1 or something. And they remembered from my video when I did Madame Rack's clear out, they went into the bedroom and they looked like in the shoes or something in the closet, and they found a bunch of diamond rings and stuff, and they got them all for like $1 each or something. It was so wild. But they're like, yeah, it was amazingly good score. So good for them. And I'm glad that people are learning some stuff, the psychology of where people hide things, where you can, if you're ever in that situation. I definitely paid more than $45 a car for these things, by the way. This is a little bit of a moment for me, so I'm not talking too much about the stuff that's selling. My son and his family moved in with me and dumped all his stuff in my garage. If he doesn't move out soon, I'll get you to come over and see what you can do. Huh, well, I'm sure your son might not like that. Wait, you're Santa Claus. Aren't you supposed to just wrap it all up in a big red bag and go deliver it around town? I thought that's how that worked. Farewell to my collection of Shuko cards, which I probably paid $100 each or more for these things. So be it. $30. Did I get $70 worth of enjoyment out of this? Maybe. It was a huge silver bar that really caught me off guard. What, in the Hoarder House clear out? Let's see. Trying to see what Jeannie says. Oh, it makes me so mad when people just go through everything and get rid of it all for nothing. There's a house near me where they found hundreds of thousands of dollars in the heater vents in the floor. Well, at least it wasn't in the laundry. They weren't laundering their money. Toasty. I wonder if it got all crispy and like rolled up from being in the heater vents. Or their heater wouldn't have worked properly in those rooms. It would have been obstructed. This one has a little working radio on it, which is kind of cool. Growing popularity of YouTube channels about hoarding and decluttering house clearance. More people are getting into it and doing the job themselves. Yeah, that could be. I think when I did it 8 or 9 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of people doing hoarded house clear outs. It was unique. I don't want that to be the thing I'm really known for, though. Curiosity Inc. was never about doing hoarder house clear outs. Curiosity Inc. was always about just being curious and exploring and finding things, and whether it's an interesting place to go visit or interesting stuff at the bottom of a box, it's always been about that. And it still is. It was never meant to be a channel about hoarder house clear outs. And I know those are popular series, but you know, there's more to us than that. Charlotte Stevens says you're making bank. I know it appeared that way, but I actually paid more than that for a lot of these things. I'm actually, as we're speaking, losing my shirt. If I were to go back and look at what I actually paid individually for these things, and I would buy them at antique stores and antique malls and places like that, and I probably, for an item like this, I probably would have paid $100 or more. Coins, gold bars, so I think they're under the heater. Weird, interesting. John Roberts is back. Hey, John. Yeah, you certainly don't want to have your kids be the ones that are saddled with dealing with everything, because I've seen it so many times where they just call in basically a dumpster. I can only imagine the stuff that like those 1-800-GOT-JUNK kind of places come across. Oh, well, actually, this thing's probably worth about $900. I said ooh, but I realized it's the big one. It's like, well, it's big enough you could sit on it and ride around on it. It's a giant 20s Buddy L toy. $350. Let's see what the market is on these things right now. $375. $400. Ronald, that's still good value there. I think when I initially, I had advertised this for sale once before, and I think I had it up for $1,200, and I had interest in it at that time. Probably somebody offered me 900 and I was like, nah, I still like it. Now look, 375 bucks. Good deal for you, Ronald. There's lots of interesting stuff up right now. All the cars and toys and stuff. Oh, somebody said to zoom in more. I can zoom in a little bit more, but the problem was when I did, then somebody's chat box made it so they couldn't see the price. So I kind of zoomed back out again. I can only keep 50% of you happy. Yeah, I think my kids appreciate it. They know that I work hard for the family, I'm sure. Not that they've said it in so many words, but you know, my kids are respectful and good loving kids. A little Shuko car here. This Japan Atom motorcycle is a really, really good piece. So if there's anybody watching and you're a toy collector, that's the Atom motorcycle and this large battery operated Shuko with the trailer. Those are two to watch for sure. Virginia says, if you have items for which a reserve price makes sense and would keep you from losing your shirt and wouldn't hurt your sales at the auction. You know, I made the decision not only to get rid of the stuff, but also to get rid of the shelves that the stuff sat on. So if I did put a reserve on it and it came back home, I would have nowhere to put anything. So for me, it all just needs to go. And it's going to go for what it goes for. And, you know, when you look at the quantity of stuff that's selling, you know, there's 1,200 items selling today. It'll all add up eventually. It'll help. Every bit helps. Oh, Gail says, do you still collect anything? Yes, I still collect vintage watches. I still collect... I still do buy toys. I'm still buying stuff because we're in the business of buying and selling things. But for my personal collection, still there's some Corgi movie and TV cars that I don't have. And yeah, still collecting those. And the real cars, the full 1-to-1 scale, the big ones. Let's see. Rachel says, just got done cleaning out the home of my husband's recently deceased grandmother's house. So much work. Please purge your home so your family doesn't have that burden. That's kind of where I'm at with my own stuff. I just like to kind of keep it thinned down. Like the way I look at it is that, this thing here is a $500 at least. We'll see if it goes up, but if that was on eBay, you'd be seeing it for about 500 bucks. Somebody can look it up on eBay and see Atom motorcycle, battery operated, what they go for. They're quite pricey things. Yeah, I had a problem buying toy cars for a bit. You know, the problem is I collected a number of things. And no, so there's a difference between me, am I still collecting or am I still buying? So what we're seeing today is me selling my personal collection of stuff, of which I am thinning it down a lot. I'm thinning that out and I'm trying to narrow it down on only certain things. That said, I'm still buying all the same type of stuff. I'm still buying things like crazy because we're still an operating business and I buy and sell stuff. So will I be buying toy collections and things in the future? Absolutely. And comics and stuff. But will I be putting it on my shelf and keeping things for myself? No. Yes and no. Only it's got to be really, really special. I'm just trying to focus on primarily the full-size cars and a couple little things that I'm collecting. Hey, congratulations on winning the bike. I bought that in Montana at an antique store. I paid, I think, $350 US for it. So you got a good deal. So good on you for getting a good deal. Yes, I still am buying storage units and doing that sort of content too. In lieu of doing hoarder house clearouts, I've been doing storage locker clearouts. It's the same type of thing, except it's all just piled in one space. Essentially, it's somebody has a lot of stuff that needs to go. And that's what we're doing. We're just basically just moving stuff along. Yeah, the DAC won the battery operated motorcycle. You can actually, if you go to my Montana series, you'll see me buying that in the store it came from. This is a gas powered tether car. Actually, it's really cool. It's a thimbledrome car, which means it used to race around sort of a track on a tether. Um, Not easy to find actual vintage tether cars, so somebody's going to get a good deal on that. It's all about the enjoyment of the items to you, says the brochures. There's a difference in collecting for investment and return of value. Yeah, the tether car is not small. It was actually pretty big. Schuco Jag E-Type. Used to have one like that. $80 on that. It's got the key with it. Oh, the storage locker full of comic books was quite an adventure, I will say. I wouldn't mind finding another couple like that for sure. That was really, really big. Oh, the tether car was maybe like a foot long, something like that. It was a good size. It wasn't like a 1930s full size tether car, but it was about 1 foot long. Yeah, Russ Knuckles says about a foot. What YouTube channels do you like to watch? I will admit this to you that I only watch YouTube when I need help figuring something out. If I'm like having difficulty working on a car and I hope that somebody's posted a video, I use it more for the how-to videos than I do for entertainment. Nice little race car with the box there. 35 is no money at all. Somebody's getting a good deal on that. $40 bid. 45 now. I can still remember getting my original Star Trek Enterprise model, filling it with fireworks and spinning around my head on the string until it exploded. Well, that must have been, I'm sure your parents were real happy with you about that. Was that in your bedroom that you did that? Nothing like kids setting off fireworks in the bedroom to get the belt drawn out of your dad's khakis in no time. Dads back, especially back in the 60s and 70s, had a real talent for taking their belt off while they ran up a staircase. I laugh about it because it's somewhat true. Takes some skill, I'm telling you. I wonder if a dad's pants ever fell down while they're doing that. There's a scene. Dad gets mad, goes to instant rage, runs up the stairs taking off his belt, only to have his pants fall down and trip and fall down the staircase. 1950 Schuco 3000 car with box, $50. The bid. Where are we going to be? $50. Looking for 50. Now 60. Looking for $70. Maybe if I do auctioneer voice, people will bid. $60 on this. Looking for $60. 19. Where are you going to find another one, folks? It's got the original box. It's got the pylons. It's got the steer control. What a deal. $60 a bid right now. Looking for 70. What's $10? Take it home. What's that? The price of 2 Starbucks? Just take it home. Buy it. $60. Put it down 70. $70. Off it goes. I have no idea what auctioneers talk about. They usually fill like their words with odd stuff. Did have a few mint in box, but had to sell on a financial rough patch. That was the end of the series collecting for the money. Interesting. I had a firecracker go off in the hand. Gladly no serious injury. Yikes. Paul had a firecracker go off. That's like a nightmare situation, having a firecracker go off while you're holding it. Oh, Andrea said her brother used to put his Redline Hot Wheels in front of his model trains and blow them up. Whew. Think of all the money that he wasted. Those things are worth a fortune now. Actually, you'll find out what they're worth because I've got my whole collection of Redline Hot Wheels coming up right away. I can't believe how much stuff still has to go through. And I almost don't want to turn the stream off because then we're going to miss out on a bunch of good stuff going through. The red lines are later. So what I'll do is I'll take a break when I get to, gosh, I do want to see, what are we at? 1671 right now. I do want to get through the records and that stuff. I want to see this stuff go. All the corgis, that's important to see. What am I going to get to? And then we'll take a break and reconvene. Well, heck, I might just be here for a while. I can't decide what is, you know, everything is good. That's the problem. Everything's good. Oh, that's a nice Schuco race car right there. The little knockoff hubs even work on it. I don't have any hold music though. If I step away, there's no music playing or anything. Oh, I'll stay as long as I can, John. I can't believe how long this auction is going on for. I mean, here we are at 4:40. I didn't realize just, how much stuff I had in here. Well, I guess I did realize, but I didn't realize how long it would take to go through. Not a bad problem to have. It boggles my mind that I had this stuff out on my shelves and it was reasonably displayed. Paul says he buried his favorite Hot Wheel, the Squad 51 from the TV show Emergency, and the neighbor found it years later. Did they give it back? Or were they like, guess what I found? And then they're driving it around like on their coffee table right in front of you. I lost my Dukes of Hazzard Charger in a sandbox at a playground when I was a kid. And I was just beside myself. I was up on, those metal slides that you could like fry a salmon on? That's a specific food to put on a slide. I don't know why I went with salmon, but anyway, those slides would get so hot in the sun and you'd like squeak when you went down it. Nah! Oh, you got your car back. That's good. I didn't. Well, I was at the top of this slide and I was running my my Dukes of Hazzard cars down the slide into the sand below. You know how you do, like a giant track. And I'd go up to the top of the slide and I'd put one and watch it go down, or I'd put them side by side and I was letting them race. This was years ago, mind you. I'm remembering this. This didn't happen last week, although it could have. And my mom called me and it was time to go. We were at my grandma's house and I was in the park across from her house. And I got my hands through the sand and I got the Daisy Duke Jeep back, which didn't go down the slide very well. And I got the police car back and the Boss Hog car back. And I looked and looked and looked, and the best one that's bright orange that you'd think you'd find, couldn't find. And so it was lost in the ethers of time. Some kid hopefully found it. Those were the days. Back when playgrounds weren't just a place to play, they were a population thinning tool. If your kid can make it across this thing and live, they get to grow old. Those, probably the amount of injuries, the amount of times, going across the monkey bars or something, or they had that cage. It was like half of a dome. It was like a monkey bar cage. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like a half circle in the ground and it was like monkey bars and triangles and it formed a giant half circle and you'd climb up to the top. And some kid would always drop down into the middle and be standing there. And anyway, I remember that thing. I remember falling through that and knocking my conker a couple times. But yeah, metal on a slide, not a great idea for a part. Durable is all heck, sure. Durable. But you burn yourself. And to make matters worse, in the 1980s, for some reason, they made shorts really short for boys and for girls. And so you were bound to get burnt real bad on something. It was just bound to happen. There's like a lot of exposed skin on the metal slide. Rachel says, yep, definitely remember those. I'm about the same age as you, yeah. Oh, and the things you could find in the sand. A Band-Aid, remnants of some teenagers making out the day before. It was always a surprise, the sand, and I don't think it's much better. In some parks, when my kids were kids, they were putting wood chips in the park. I don't know how that's any better. Now I think it's like absorbent foam, like that rubbery recycled tire foam stuff. I think that's what they have in a lot of parks now. And they're spoiled. They've got like water in the parks. They have like water fountains and stuff and spray parks. That's what they are. We would just get scorching hot, go down a metal slide, burn our hands and our legs, and lose your Dukes of Hazzard car in the sand and call it a day. That's right. We were tough. We were raised by baby boomers. Who were raised by Depression era people. Who were raised by Vikings themselves. Direct descended from people who got beaten with bits of animal, like a hoof. I don't know how Vikings discipline their children. I imagine it was like a horse leg with a hoof on the end of it. Nothing good came from having a mad Viking parent, I'm sure. Lawn darts, remember that? Never had anybody poke a hole in their head that I knew. But I know there was that panic of running when some kid threw it wrong. When somebody just didn't know how to throw a lawn dart. Like, are you sure you should let your little brother throw that thing? Oh, he's fine. And then he whips it like right at you. Hey! Haven't found any stamps recently. Somebody's just asking. I was telling my wife recently that we are almost the last generation that grew up as children without the internet. Like, the internet started coming around, but it was very sparse and not very popular by the time we were kind of in high school even. But we still had a normal, what I consider quote unquote normal childhood, where if your kid was out, you just didn't know where they were. You had to actually yell their name. John! You'd hear like some mom calling their kid, supper time! Remember when parents would just yell out their door? Like, there was no text messages. Your mom would open the door and yell at the top of her lungs for you and your pet that might be out, sometimes at the same time. John, Mittens, get in here. And I don't know what'd show up first, the cat or the John. Yeah. John! Down the block, and it would send a shiver down your spine. It would go right up your neck. You know that feeling when you get the shiver up your spine into the back of your neck when you thought you might be in trouble? And you're just like, meanwhile, for me, I would have like been playing Hot Wheels in the dirt or something like that. You know, when you make the road, you put your two fingers together and you carve a little path with your fingers in the dirt. I was doing stuff like that, and then you'd hear your name. Dinner time! Sometimes you'd be asked to go find other children that were missing in the neighborhood, that might be in the woods building random things with who knows what tools they found or where they got it from. I remember we had kind of a little forested area by the places we were living in, apartments we were at. And the construction site had a scrap pile of wood, and we found a hammer and some nails and grabbed all the scrap wood, and we built a tree house no less than probably 15 feet in the air. And when I got in, my mom and dad said, "What were you up to today?" As I was gone for 10 hours straight without them seeing me. I come in dirty and sweaty like I was lost in the jungle. Where have you been all day? I was building the tree house. Oh, okay. They didn't ask. Do you know how to use a hammer and nail? No, we figured it out. Were there nails that stuck out and probably stabbed us? Absolutely. But that's how you grew, and that's how you got tetanus shots. And sometimes you didn't. Sometimes you just got weird rashes. The good old days. And neighborhood kids would gather around like in little gangs almost and encourage each other to do other stuff. But you can't take that jump on your bike. And I probably had like some beat up 10 speed, and my friends had a BMX that felt more capable at doing that stuff. Then you're trying to take a jump on an old 10 speed that was handed down or thrifted at a garage sale. Yep. I had learned that the rims on 10 speeds bend pretty easy when you land a jump off a big dirt pile. But I guess that's also how I learned how to straighten a rim on a bike. You know, especially when you're nervous about getting in trouble, you find that you hammer it back out and get it sorted out. And I feel like graphic t-shirts were more of a deal too. Oh, here's the Marvin the Satanic Magician poster. This is the one that I got in Montana. This is an original piece, by the way. I probably spent a couple $100 getting it framed, so there's that. But really, really neat piece if you're into sort of the dark and unusual. Well, there it goes. I remember pre-TV, the internet. I wandered all over the farm and sometimes other farms. No worries. No one worried. It was a different time. Yeah, I remember being sent. We lived in what we'd call like a condominium or a townhouse complex, and I remember I was out playing with my friends, and I must have been 9 years old. And the person that owned was managing the complex said, "You kids want to earn some money?" Apparently, a drug dealer had been arrested or something. They had to clear out the suite. And she hired all of us kids for like $5 for the day to go and clear out a drug den. Remember that. It was my first house clear out. And I remember she was like, well, you guys can take whatever you want out of here. And there was gold plated, I don't know, when people get money that are like into nefarious activities, they buy the weirdest stuff. There was gold plated dumbbells, like barbells or dumbbells for like lifting weights and stuff. They're all gold plated. And I remember I gave them to my brother. He was pretty happy about that. But yeah, there was like all kinds of weird stuff in there. But I just remember like at the time I was like, these are cool. Instantly gave them away. You know, oh, I got some money. What am I going to do? You know how you lift weights once in a while? Yeah? You'll be really cool? What? Gold-plated weights. All right. High fives all around. And then where do you even find gold-plated? Did he have to go out and get them gold-plated? Were they in a catalog? Did he buy them from my mom at Den for Men? I don't think they sold gold-plated weights there. That's the kind of random nonsense they might have sold. Where do you buy gold-plated weights? And why would you want them? Wouldn't your hands get all sticky and sweaty? They were smooth. They weren't like, they didn't have any sort of cross-hatching for the handles. They were smooth, which means that when you're lifting them up over your head, being like, I'm the one with the money, or whatever you do when you're lifting a gold weight over your head, you're like, money, 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 money. It would have gotten sweaty and it would have slipped out of his hand and fallen like into the face or groinal area. Nothing good comes from having a smooth gold-plated set of weights. Anyway, I remember that. Kids want to make some money? Good thing they weren't bad. They could have been like, just go sell this on the street corner. Could have been a lot worse. We were apparently just eager to make $5. I could have been a mule at age of 9 if things had gone differently. But no, maybe that's one of the, maybe it was living in that area that got me interested in buying and selling stuff, that first clear out. I was probably younger than 9 when I think about it. John, money, 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 money. Yeah, they turn into Mr. Krabs when they end up having the weight sets in the hand. What are you doing? Lifting weights? Money, 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 money. I can't even imagine. I can imagine at that time too, they would have been listening to like LL Cool J really loud, and it would have been white guys wearing Kango hats with gold chains and no shirts on. I can envision the guy that lived in that neighborhood right now. Wiki, 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 what? Oh, here comes some dinky toys up for sale. Right, we have an auction happening in the background. This is what happens when I'm left to talk for 2 hours at a time. Apparently things just go awry. Oh, hey, I liked Mr. T. John Roberts said Mr. T. I had a Mr. T t-shirt. I never had gold chains or the wanton desire to have a mohawk, but I was more into the aesthetic of Miami Vice. $3.75 right now on this. It's a really good piece for anybody who's an actual collector of this stuff. This James Bond card, that is a killer and hard to get piece with the original box. It has the original foam inside too, which they did not photograph. Banana seat bike with 3-speed shifter. Yeah, those are the days. I don't know. By the time I was a kid, banana seat bikes were already kind of a little bit old. It was more like you were a cool kid if you had a chrome BMX with blue grips and blue rubber tires. That would be like you were the, whoa, look at that kid. When you had a spray bombed 10-speed like I did, it wasn't ideal. It was not the greatest. $70 bid on the Corgi Chevy police car with box. The minor injuries build character. This is true. Don't bleed on my floor. Mom! Did your finger fall off? No. What did they put on it? Not benzene, iodine. Did your parents ever use iodine on you? What's the deal with that? That's like saying you got a scrape and let's put some nuclear waste on your wound. That stuff didn't seem natural. I would have rather, I think I would have rather just had it washed and a Band-Aid put on than iodine. Like, what was the purpose of that? To burn your skin, to graft it together and have a permanent scar? Iodine peroxide. But hydrogen peroxide was fun because it foamed all fuzzy like the world's worst frothing milkshake. Oh, you got a cut. Let's put some hydrogen peroxide on that. And it turns into like this disaster of, yeah. I mean, I guess it took my mind off of things. Paul says his favorite bike was a black BMX with star metal chrome wheels. Well, weren't you fancy? Weren't you fancy, Paul, with your black BMX? Uh, Oh, Rick was always getting tetanus shots for stepping on nails. Yeah, I had that a couple times. My dad stepped on a nail once when he was a kid, and I think he said he snuck onto a construction site. Never a good thing for a kid to do, but they didn't watch those things or fence them back in the day, especially in the 50s when my dad was a kid. My mom was telling me a story the other day where her next door neighbor lived in the unfinished basement. It was just like they were building a house, but he didn't have the money to finish it. So he just like tarped off the roof of the basement and lived in that for a number of years until he could finish the house. What a memory that would be. Some, living in winter in Canada in a cement hole in the ground while you're waiting to earn the money to build your house. It's because of people doing stuff like that then that they started, oh, Phil down the street there is a good guy and all. Is that right? He's living in his basement? Yeah, is that safe and all? Oh, I don't know. I'm sure it's fine. Oh, okay. Then a pallet of bricks falls on his head and they go, hey, you should probably, gosh, it's too bad about him. Hey, we should probably have a rule. Maybe people shouldn't live in their house until it's built, I probably should have thrown a couple A's in there since I'm in Canada. Yeah, probably shouldn't have done that, eh? You probably should have. Probably needed like, I don't know, like a roof or something. Different times. Annie, New York says we inspected all the building sites. Yeah, there was a time there was no inspectors. Yeah. I remember my dad telling me stories of like kids with a board and a nail in it. Like some kid that he fathomed might be a little bit behind the other kids in school and that they kind of stayed clear of would come like dragging a board with a nail in it. And he laughed pretty hard when he saw The Simpsons and they put that in where Kang and Kodos, the aliens, were conquered by the humans after they de-weaponized, and then the humans, I think Mo picked up a board with a nail in it and chased after them. There's always some kid. There's always one kid. Things were just different back then. In some ways better, in some ways different. I knew guys that threw apples at school buses. Yeah, and that driver probably knew exactly who all their parents were too. Are you sure it was my kid? Well, what are you gonna do? They're kids. Now that's what they would have said. They wouldn't have denied it was their kids. That was generations of parents later. At that point, what, the 1960s or 70s, let's say, if somebody called you and said that your kid was like lighting a bag of dog poop on fire, they go, what are you gonna do? Kids are gonna be kids. Kids are kids. You know what, threw an apple at a bus? Kids are just kids. Oh, rocks and snowballs, that's diabolical. Never, I think that's a different level. I don't think that's the same. The auction takes a picture and decides what they're going to do. So it is just things are selling for what they're going to sell for. And honestly, at this price, $70 for this little army truck is fine. That's an okay price. That other one sold a little light. I'm going to go back in the auction here. This dinky toy fire engine, $35. That was cheap. $30 on that was cheap. 90 on the fire car. That's fine. 50 on the other one is fine. 80 or 90 on that. That's totally fine. There's some are going really low though. So, That's the thing. So it's almost like watching these auction sales is good in a sense, but it's also, how they say in English, depressing. I'm gonna do that from now on, and I'm gonna say like English isn't my first language. You know how you say this sucks. Snow forts and ditches, yeah, not a great idea. I remember building a snow fort in the windrows. When the snow gets piled up from the snow plows. We were forever out there building snow forts in there. I don't know how many kids must have got scooped up by a snow plow over the years. But I do have distinct memories of walking to school along the top of a windrow. Nothing better than that. There's a few things, and I'll say this about Canada, probably other parts of the world too. I'm going to sneeze here. Wait for it. To give you a good cartoon sneeze. Usually there's 3. I can feel it in there. Okay, it's not happening. I remember the joy of climbing snow piles in parking lots and walking along the windrows on the way to school. when it would snow here and the wind would blow the snow and it would get sort of a crunchy surface, and if you're real careful, you could walk on top of the snow without sinking into it, and you'd play a game of like, how far can I get without sinking into the snow? Sometimes you could walk for a while. Other times, you'd fall right in. And sometimes it was like 4 feet deep, and when you're 4.5 feet tall, that's up to your neck. And then you're doing a little wiggle to get your way out. But early winter and spring, there's almost no better feeling than having cracking ice of freshly frozen water, a pond or something, being the first one to it. It was almost like if you were walking to school and came across a puddle that had frozen over and it had that thin layer of ice, and you're like, I can't believe some other kid didn't do this. I can't believe I'm the first. It's like the same as a scratch and win lottery ticket, like a scratchy ticket. It's the same feeling of like, I get to be the, woo! And the real technique, only amateurs use their toes. Professionals use their heel. They do the backwards heel into the ice. That's the proper way to bust some ice on a puddle, that's for sure. And if you're really good, you could get a big chunk off and pick it up, and your mittens would get all soggy. Then you'd have to explain that to your mom when you got home at the end of the day, why you wore soggy mittens home. The wool, the feeling of like the stinging cold that, you made a mistake, but it was so worth it to pick up that chunk of ice. Or in the 80s, you had those kind of nylon puffy gloves, the ones that look like you could make a little puppet out of them. Those would get soaked. There was no water resistance at all on those things. Frozen puddles were the rule followers' only way to get a feeling of how it might be to break a window. Oh, I see you took things a little farther. Yeah, no, I would never. I was never a misfit or miscreant. I was never out there damaging other people's property. In fact, I was more the opposite. That if a kid in my neighborhood had like, something that was broken, I would try and fix it for them, like a bike, or I'd be inclined to. My nephew, I'm still like that today. My nephew came over, and he's in university, and he's painting houses right now for a living. As part of his business program at school. And he had Nike high tops on. And I'm like, what are you doing wearing those for painting houses? One was filthy, well, they were both actually filthy. They were dirty. And I'm like, I bet those could be cleaned. He's like, nah, they're too far gone. And so right as he's standing at the door, ready to go, I go and get my shoe cleaning stuff, because yes, I have shoe cleaning stuff. And I cleaned his one shoe so it was completely spotless, and I left the other one. And so he left with one sparkling white shoe and one that was filthy dirty. Yes, that's what I did to my nephew. Did you see the video of the guy getting an ice skate that cut his jugular vein in his neck while playing ice hockey? Nope. Not something I feel I need to look up. That sounds terrible. But I am kind of a fix-it type person, if you've noticed. And so the other day, Steven came home in his car, and somebody had backed into the bumper, and it took a big chunk of paint off the bumper. But we'd repainted that bumper on our own anyway. And I said, you know what? No big deal. It didn't damage it. It just took the paint off, and we already have some of the paint still. So taped it off, buffed it, scuffed it down with some sandpaper, and repainted it. Done like dinner. $40 now, $45, $50. Yep, $50. This mobile airfield radar unit is actually kind of a rare die cast. It's not one that you see too often when it comes to corgi. Even though it's not in the best condition, it's not terrible. I'll be honest with you guys, there is one in here that I didn't mean to put in the auction. And it's too late now. I can't bid on my own stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not going to go and buy it elsewhere, because it's going to be double or triple the price to what my own stuff is selling for. But I kind of wanted to keep this Jag E-Type in the box, this convertible. It's too late now. It better go for good money. But I can't bid on my own thing. We don't see many dinky or corgis in the US. Well, maybe being in a British colony, we saw lots of it, and they are really cool. The corgis were the better ones, in my opinion. Annie says, kind of nice having a conversation about nostalgia while we're doing an auction of nostalgic toys and stuff. Yep. Mark 10 Jag. I bought one of these once off a guy and it ended up being stolen. And I had to go into the police station and everything. I didn't know I bought a stolen car. I had a bill of sale for it, everything. It was like a non-running car, so I didn't think much of it. I started restoring it and I had it in a shop getting some work done to it. And then somebody saw it at the guy's shop and had it towed away. And I had no clue that it had been stolen. So that was awkward, especially considering the guy I bought it from was a coworker. And he just said, you're into those old cars, right? Yeah, I am. Oh, I got this old Jag I want to sell. Cool. And yeah, ended up, he saw it behind a factory and thought it was abandoned and took it home. And the person who owned it, although it was vandalized, which is the reason why it needed repair, somebody had vandalized it. It's like it was a restored car. It was this exact car, basically, but it was totally restored and somebody had smashed all the glass out of it and it was sitting there for like years. And he just took it. You know, if he wanted it bad enough, he could have just called the guy who owned the factory or whatever and been like, who has the Jag? I'd like to buy it, and done it normal. I don't know what happened to him. I don't know if they pressed charges or what. I was fine because I had a bill of sale and all that stuff. Nothing happened with me, but still. It's the only time I've ever owned a stolen car. And the worst part was, the guy that got the car back, let's say I paid $1,500 for it because it was all vandalized. I put $3,500 into it, replacing glass and getting it fixed up and stuff. The guy gets the car back and he's like, well, we don't really want the car. That's why we abandoned it back there. Do you want to buy it back for $4,000? I'm like, not really. He's like trying to charge me all the work that I did to it back. So I was like, no, I already spent that money on the car. I'm not doing it twice. And he called me, the guy that got the car back after stolen, tried to sell it back to me many times, and I did not want it. It was just like, nope. It was sometimes, you know, when things leave a bad taste in your mouth, I was like, no, not doing this again. And especially not at that price. That said, 20 years ago, $4,000 was not terrible for the car, but it wasn't great either. And they're not super duper desirable cars now. They're okay, but they're not like super desirable. So didn't want to be near it. It would have been nice if he would have been like, listen, I know that you bought this car, and yeah, we don't want it. So whatever you paid for it the first time, how about you just pay us that, the $1,500? Then I would have been. No, I don't think I did get my money back for it. I don't remember getting my money back for the car. I think I was just out all that money. And that was a point in my life where that was real hard to swallow, losing that much money. That set us back quite a bit, actually. Early days for Melissa and I, we were just, I don't even know if we were married yet. That might have been before we got married. My gut instinct's okay. But then again, I don't know what to expect out of prices on things nowadays. Like the price of these Corgi and Dinky toys in general are kind of a lot lower than what they used to be. Oh, $80. Well, no, that's the one I would have kept for myself. I think I actually had two in this sale of these E-Type Jag. What did I do with my DeSoto? The one I had when I was like 15 or 14? I think I only had one DeSoto, and that was my first car, 49 DeSoto. The guys that own the Little Lot in Edmonton, which is like a reseller of used cars, he came with his dad and bought it, and now they're still there. Now I'm kind of friends with him, actually. His kid, it's funny how things work. So when I was 15 or so, I bought a 49 DeSoto. Actually, I traded an Elvis record straight across for it. And I got the car running and driving, and then this guy that owned a used car lot that specialized in vintage cars, and they're still in business, called the Little Lot here in Edmonton. They usually get some neat stuff. I advertised it in the paper because, you know, there was no internet then. And this guy who was maybe like, I want to say 20 at the time, he was older than me. He came with his dad, and they bought the car, and I guess they sold it on their lot or did whatever they do, sold it on their lot. Fast forward years later, I am now friends with that guy. I bought several cars off of him from that car lot, and his son graduated this year, the same with my son, and I ran into him at the graduation ceremony. So, and we're not a small town. It's not like there's 20 people here, and you're like, of course you ran into him. There's only 20 people live in the area. There's over 1 million people in my area, But I guess when you're in the business of liking old cars and stuff, the world does get a little bit smaller. So yeah, time flies, interests stay the same. He's still into that kind of stuff. I'm still into this kind of stuff. You know, sometimes what you key in on when you're young stays with you when you're older. Probably why Pokemon cards will be a good investment for down the road, because whoever's young, like the teenagers that are buying them up right now, when they're older, they'll go back and revisit it when they're like in their 30s or 40s and start collecting it like crazy, which means you got 20 years of sitting on stuff before it really skyrockets in value for a short period of time. 10 years of selling stuff like crazy, and then move on to the next thing. Hard to know what anybody's going to collect down the road. Yeah, like $15 for a dinky toy in the box is unheard of. Normally, when you see a dinky toy with the box, you're talking $100 minimum. So, yeah. But, you know, when I bought this collection of stuff, I bought it in bulk. I guess I should go back and see if there's comments. Oh, yeah. Just reading still talking about that. John says he misses the Ghostbusters ambulance. It's in Quebec and it got restored to my knowledge. Yeah. Collectible, quote unquote, cards say are massively overprinted. It's kind of like the, I think it's gonna be similar to the sport card phase of the 1990s where people went crazy over like pro set and scorecards that are basically worthless now. What would you never sell? Well, obviously I would never sell like family photos and stuff like that. I don't know. There's no object I have. There's things that I would sell last, but there's nothing that I wouldn't sell. I mean, it's just stuff after all, especially if it came down to it. I know I've said this many times over the years that if we ever needed money for something or, you know, push came to shove, it would not bother me to sell everything I own to make sure the family's okay. We got another little batch of Corgi cars coming up. Corgi stuff seems to be doing okay. I think we get through some cars here. And then we get into some pictures. The records are going to be coming up. There are some really good records. The Beatles' first album, the Pink Floyd's first album. We've got Elvis's first album. I think there's Buddy Holly's first album in here. Little Richard's first album. Yeah, there's Buddy Holly's first album right there. There are a lot of firsts. A lot of good albums. I mean, really, it's all the better albums that I had in my own collection. I already put my turntable and my speakers through this auction and my amp, so no going back once you get rid of your turntable. $50 bid on the Chipperfield Circus Crane with box. Do I have any plans, Frederick asked, do I have any plans to deal in things I don't normally deal in? Like what? Like livestock or something? I've pretty much bought and sold just about everything that there is, from jewelry, coins, stamps, toys, comics, cars, you name it. I don't think there's anything that I wouldn't sell. I don't know that I'd focus on anything, one more than the other. Like I know certain things better than others, and so there's a comfort zone to buying things that you have more familiarity with. But as you can see, the market has shifted a lot. The market on Corgi toys and stuff has shifted a great deal. New generation objects, I don't know. I know I should. Like, I know that I should try and start dealing with the stuff that the kids are... Oh, I'm starting to sound like I'm going to sell pudding pops here. I start to sell what the kids are selling and doing the deals with the kids that do the sell the things. I don't know. I'm more interested in encouraging my kids to do their own thing with the stuff that they like. I think for me, maybe there'll be more of a focus on like the jewelry and the coins and stuff like that. I prefer dealing in small stuff that you can fit in the trunk of a car. No, not taxidermy. I don't know. the things that are of interest to me are not always of interest to everybody else, you know? I mean, there are people who like corgi and dinky toys and stuff like that. That's why I kept the movie and TV ones. Sell shaved ice on the street. That sounds like advice. My dad was a filmmaker, and he used to get advice from my mom's grandpa. He'd say, "Why don't you just go drive a bus?" It's like, yeah, maybe my dad needed a more stable job, but driving a bus wasn't gonna fill the same creative sparkle that he had. If you're like, why don't you become a teacher at a university or something, that might have been more up his alley. In fact, he did do that for a little bit. Just reading some of the comments. Yeah, 1950s era cars are a lot cheaper than they used to be. That remember I had that Kaiser that came out of the I bought that estate, and there was the cars that were involved with it too, and there was an old Kaiser. That was actually not, it was a really nice car, but it was very difficult to sell. And it was a very rare car. It was a two-door. It was like one of a handful left, and it was kind of a neat looking thing. And I put brand new wide white walls on it, and I'll be darned if it wasn't the most difficult thing to sell. You go to sell a Volkswagen bus, it's gone instant. Even my old Ford truck would be easy to sell, or my Jeep Wagoneer. Just certain things are a little more of interest to people. I would say that 50s cars are out, and like 80s and 90s Japanese cars are in. Does anybody kind of agree with me on that? Terry's asking how Drew Pet is, the guy that built my house. Don't know, haven't talked to him since he finished the house. I assume he's doing okay. I see he's still building houses and stuff. Kit Kat clocks are pretty cool. Somebody said they had one of those. Those are neat. 80s and 90s interior stuff is hot too. Like all that pastel-y pink stuff people are into. That's weird. I can't imagine that. That was like my least favorite era for decor. I remember we rented a house once, and it had pastel pink carpeting. It had mint green walls and kind of like peach colored trim. And that was considered like super trendy at the time. And you look at it now and you'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Although maybe now that stuff is coming back. Oh, 80s and 90s. Oh, I see, 80s and 90s cars. You don't see them, you know, if you go driving on the road now and you look for an 80s or 90s car, you just don't see them on the road anymore. And there were tons of them. They made millions of them. Whatever happened to them? Shag, perfect for fleas. Gross. I remember usually, let's call it a rumpus room. Because a rec room would assume that some activities are happening down there. Or a rumpus room, that's usually where the kids would go to play your N64 with the wood paneled wall. I'm going to paint a picture for you. It's 1992, let's say. Your friend has invited you over to their place, and you go, and they have Zelda and Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt on their Nintendo, their Super Nintendo. You go into the basement, and they've got orange, kind of that orange and red shag carpet blend. They've got an old giant wooden coffee table, and the TV that the Nintendo's hooked up to is one of those big walnut-looking things that weighs 10,000 pounds. There's weird hangings on the wall. There's maybe an oversized wooden fork and spoon, and the walls are wood paneling. Now you're talking memories. I remember being in a basement just like that, and also trying to set up an AFX slot car track, which does not lay down very nice on shag carpeting. But it had little headlights that worked on it, and we made it do. Orange shag. John's friend had orange shag carpet. My friend had that orangey red shag. In fact, I think I had a friend that had green with like gold speck and black speck shag carpet. Does that sound like a thing? I think that's a thing. Just watching some of these things and now. I wonder why the price on the Dinky toys isn't all that hot. 25 bucks on a mint boxed Dinky toy? Okay. I might have to take a break from this just so I don't cry myself to sleep tonight. Melissa will look over at me and I'll be like crying hard into my pillow, like so hard I have to bite the pillow to stop the tears coming out. What's wrong with you? Oh, my toys. And then you'll know that we have marital problems. It'll be that when you have to talk and you have to cry talk at the same time. I just saw they go for more money. I laugh, I cry. Such is life. Such is a life. Yeah, nothing gets a guy worse than his toys selling for less than they should. Auction PTSD is real. It's getting there. It's a slow climb. Our friend Ronald is helping the bids on some things for sure. Thank goodness for our Dutch friends those in the Netherlands for placing bids tonight. Oh, it's full on loopiness from sitting on a screen all day for sure. Hello, wife.
I'm making supper. It'll be done for 5:30, so don't order anything.
Okay.
I love you.
I love you too. She came in to tell me that while I have been I've been in here, she's been controlling life out in the house. She's making supper for everybody right now. Hello, wifey. First thing I do whenever I get home is I look for Melissa. I usually go, sweetie, because I'm happy to see her when I get home. Well, let's see. I might. Let's see. I'm just looking to see. In my mind, there's a lot of good stuff. And there's a lot of stuff worth talking about. But I'm trying to get a sense of when I should return on here to talk about it. And that might be at lot number 1925, which is when I start getting into some of the other antiques and the red line start. 1925, that's what I'm going to aim for. So about 200 lots from now. I'm going to take a short recess and I'm going to go cry into my pillow. And for those of you that want a great deal on some old toys, you should log in and do that and bid on some things. As for me, I will be back for a part 3 of all this to do the finale. So for those of you that want to join and see if I got even loopier for part 3, you can do that too. Guys, thank you again for watching, and I shall return. We'll see you guys soon.